leave Halconis introduce himself.
Sorry about that. Salute a tutte le amici. Indeed, I am Alconista Wanarati, evitare che vuole regare felice. And I am really, really, absolutely delighted to continue to be able to read Fantastic Mr. Fox with Ruadh. I really appreciate his reading the streams. Thank you, it will be a pleasure.
Thank you so much, Halconis. I was very disappointed when we had all these issues last stream. Because I wasn't really looking forward to it. We did a little bit, but you know, the internet service provider gods just decided tonight was not going. Well, that night was not going to be that night. Hopefully, this night is a little bit better. I will say I'm having some issues as well, so I don't know if we're just cursed or something. Perhaps.
Oh yeah, I was thinking of that. Oh no, the tree farmers trio curse on us.
Yeah, the tree farmers aren't very happy with us that we're rooting for Fantastic Mr. Fox. For those of you wondering, my CPU temperatures are once again being lame. It seems to be okay. It seems to be running fine. I don't see any issues. All I know is that I can hear my fans going very loudly. But
yeah,
you know what? It's fine. It's fine. I'm sure in the morning they'll be back to normal and we won't have any issues.
Surely. Fingers crossed for the fans.
But yeah, we were going to start this about half an hour earlier, but that was when my PC decided we're going to idle at like 70 degrees. I could have cooked an egg on it. I think it was, yeah. Then I've tried like kind of just I'm gonna take out my PC in a moment, like after stream, and just kind of turn it around, kind of lift it, shake it a little bit, see if maybe it's a air bubble issue in the AIO, and maybe that might help it. I would hope. Otherwise I don't know what's happening. I think I'm just gonna have to get on to what's their name, Arctic, and just be like, hey, can you guys please take a look at this, because it's constantly issues. But that's for future Ruadh to do. We're getting back into Fantastic Mr. Fox. So have you read up to where we are now? Because we last left off on those terrible tractors.
Yeah. I have been reading. I have completed chapter 4. I must say it is a surprisingly engaging reading, because I was thinking, oh yeah, I'm going to catch up, but no, I actually really enjoyed it, and it's actually really amazing how much Sir Dal's prose. Apologies, I do not know if he was knighted, but Sir Dal's prose like manages to really flow into with a very direct action, which makes sense. It's a children's book, so in some ways it is very direct, but it still is the trademark of a wonderful writer.
It's not like, you know, it might be a children's book, but it's certainly not like written as if, like, you know, he's thinking less of children. It's well written, well composed. It's going a lot faster than I remember. I must say. I know you didn't read this, Halconis. I don't think you did you?
No.
Because I read this as a excuse me. I read this as a baddie. And I feel like I swear I remember it being much longer, but I think I said that maybe it was a James and the Giant Peach that I was thinking of. But yeah.
But when it's very young, like things do really have like a lot of sense of wonder, or like everything just seems like so much bigger, so much more wonderful. And when we still had the joy and innocence before the war and workplace ships take them from us.
So when we last left off, the tree farmers, Bogus, Bunce, and Bean, one fat, one short, one lean, those terrible crooks, so different in looks, but all so equally mean. They had managed to find Mr. Fox's hole. I know. And they waited outside. Mr. Fox always relying on his nose. They waited away from the wind. They faced upwind of... is that the right way? Yes, upwind of Mr. Fox's hole. And when he came out of his hole, he lied. He thought he saw something, and he did. He saw the barrel of a gun, and he turned tail and tried to run, but bang, 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 and they let off shots. And they caught Mr. Fox's tail, and now they're trying to dig out the Fox family. You can see there on the bottom left there, they're digging with all their might as the shovels are scratching behind them, but they seem to have gotten away. But now it seems Bogus, Bunce and Bean may very well have something bigger up their sleeves. So considering I read so much, Halconis, if you have any kind of comments you want to make beforehand about the story so far, feel free to do so. But I think you can take maybe the next chapter. I think that would be the fairest.
Yeah. Thank you, yes, I will be delighted. Thank you very much, Ruadh. Very well. Comments about the story so far? Not any particular. Simply, another thing that is really quite appreciated is that the characters are also just so instantly engaging. Like the first lines that you meet, quote unquote, Mr. Fox, like you can tell he's the hero that do. Quite a hero he is in a way. But, okay. Let us start. And beforehand, I do apologize a little bit for the nervousness. I am normally a really shy person, so yeah, sorry about that.
It's okay. It's okay. You'll do wonderful.
Oh, grazie, mille grazie. Chapter 5: The Terrible Tractors. As the sun rose the next morning, Buggies and Buns and Bean, one... Oh no, I'm not gonna remember the lyrics, sorry. One something, and one lean were still digging. They had dug a hole so deep you could have put a house into it. But they had not yet come to the end of the Fox's tunnel. They were all very tired and cross. Okay, I'll try doing the voices. So Bogies, I think, was the shorter one, I believe.
Bogus is the fat one, and then Bunce is the tiny one, and Bogus, Bunce, and Bean. Yes, and then Bean is along like a string bean.
Yeah. Right. That's why Bean. I see. Very clever naming. I love it. Sir Dow did have a sense of humor. Okay. But then, so Bogies is the rounder one. So rounder one, let's go for a bit more of a chest voice then. Dang a blast, said Bogies. Whose rotten idea was this? These three had no loyalty between them. As soon, instantly, Buns says, Bean's idea, said Buns.
You guys didn't see that.
Buggies and Buns body started Bean.
Clicking thing.
Bean took another swig of cider, then put the flask back into his pocket without offering to the others. The other one. Okay. Listen, he said angrily. I want that fox. I'm going to get that fox. I'm not giving in until I strung him up over my front porch, dead as a dumpling. Foggy. We can get him by digging, that's for sure, said the fat Buggies. I had enough of digging. Buns, the little pot-bellied dwarf, looked up at Bean and said, what voice did I do for Buns? Oh man.
I try to do like a short, I try to imagine like an angry little man. So he's like, have you got any more stupid ideas then? Or I think I can't remember exactly what voice I did, but it was something around there. You know, kind of high strung.
Yeah. That he's very tense, like very angry. Yeah, because sometimes vocal placement can be a bit difficult to remember. Like when it is one that is used very commonly, for example, chest resonance is one that people are intimately familiar with because it's the main vocal resonance that we always use every day. Head resonance or nasal resonance are kinda used, but they are not really. Like a voice teacher once told me, if someone spoke only with head resonance, for example, they will have like an extremely strange way of speaking. I better cut it there before I go into like a 10-minute tangent about vocal techniques. Sorry. Yeah. So, looked at Bean and said, "Have you got any more stupid ideas then?" Excusa, excusa. Excusa is apologies in Italian.
No, you're fine. You're fine. Don't worry.
Thank you, thank you. What? Said Bean. I can hear you. Bean never took a bath. Oh, he never even washed. As a result, his ear holes were clogged with all kinds of muck and wax and bits of chewing gum and dead flies and stuff like that. What a beautiful rhyme. This made him deaf. "Speak louder," he said to Bones, and Bones shouted back, "Got any more stupid ideas?" One little moment. Sorry, I just in my chair.
No worries.
Bean rubbed the back of his neck with a dirty finger. He had a boil coming there, and it itched. "What we need on this job," he said, "is machines. Mechanical shovels. We'll head him out in 5 minutes with mechanical shovels." This was a pretty good idea, and the other two had to admit it. "All right then," Bean said, taking charge. "Buggies, you stay here and see the fox does not escape. Bones and I will go and fetch our machinery. If he tries to get out,
Excuse me. I'm not feeling
shoot
the
him
best.
quick." Dun dun. Like normally, so when I stream with OBS, I had a plugin for OBS, like a soundbar plugin, and then like that is sometimes when I use a particular hotkey, for example, the Bible sound or something. It's honestly often pretty good. The only bad thing about that plugin is that it doesn't really have the option to set up individual volume levels for each sound. So like when I want to play with do ASMR or something, then it doesn't. The sounds will be too loud, for example. It's a thing. Yeah.
Hang on, excuse me. I will have to mute for a moment. I feel a cough.
No
coming
problem,
on.
no problem, no. But yeah, sometimes I thought about the idea of like using like different soundboards for like a live in
Excuse me.
script or reading a script with sound effects in the
Yeah, almost like a radio show. You know those things?
Yeah. Oh yeah, those were so great. I
Yeah.
always wanted to do. Yeah.
I bet if you got an ASMR mic and you had a bunch of load of different random things around you that you could use to create like sound effects, it would be really good.
Oh man, yeah, living Foley would be really, really fun. Like that would be really cool. Sometimes I saw a little bit of how like Foley people do their sounds, and some of the things that they do to create the specific sounds that they are looking for. Oh my god, it's really creative. It's actually really, really amazing. Okay. My apologies, because continue with the
favorite angel girl.
Here we go. The long thin bean walked away. The tiny Bones trotted after him. The fat Buggies stayed where he was with his gun pointing at the foxhole.
Do let me know if volume and stuff is
Soon,
okay.
2 enormous caterpillar tractors with mechanical shovels on their front ends came clanking into the woods. Let's pretend this is clanking metal.
Cute. I liked it. I like that
That's
sound.
it. Yeah, it was. It's funny because when I like the few times that I try to add like something like Foley, living sound with ASMR, often I didn't really like the kind of sounds that I was achieving. But part of that I will admit is because so I use a FIFA in IM8, I think is the name of this microphone, which is not exactly like a 3DO or one of those ASMR mixes. Yeah, because I think for a microphone to have like the kind of sensitivity that a 3DO has, like a lot has to go into the microphone construction.
Yeah, definitely. But if you have a condenser microphone anyway, it will be a lot more sensitive than a dynamic microphone. Do you know which one is yours?
I think it's dynamic, because I was searching for a dynamic microphone because like I had a lot of sound around it. For example, like the neighbors or crickets and stuff. Yeah. Because they do say if you have the space for it, or if you had, for example, like a studio space, a room that is more sound treated, but doesn't have like a lot of sound around, condenser can be really great, like really great. Yeah. But if you don't have as much control of your, sorry, go ahead.
Oh no, I was saying pretty much the same thing.
Oh, yeah, my apologies. No, it's just that sometimes when like I start going on a topic, then like, oh no, 20 minutes
no,
later.
listen. My viewers know way too much about me yapping away when I get going on a topic.
But it's always really fascinating when you hear someone
that's
like,
a good idea.
For example,
actually,
of course, I often like watch a few horror like VTubers, right? And some of the best moments are when they start yapping about something that fascinates them. Like it's always really fun. Okay. But yeah, like if you don't have as much control over your environment, dynamic can be better.
Oh yeah,
so that
definitely,
you can be sure that the sound is kind of okay. Yeah.
Mine is the Samsung Q2U. I'm very happy with it.
Oh, I never heard of that one, but it does sound like a really good microphone. Okay, continuing with the reading. Excellent. I think this is around the...
I think you were around the long
clanking into the wood.
beam.
Yeah. I think it was clanking. And soon two numerous caterpillar tractors with mechanical shovels on the front ends came clanking into the wood. Finn was driving one, Vance the other. Oh, and here we see the illustration of them. The illustrations are so cute. The illustrations are so cute.
Look at all the gunk in his ear.
Oh no. Ew. That's a nice little detail. Oh man, I swear I'll keep this one for only 2 minutes. But it's a nice little detail how Sirdal adds a few details to really make the characters not only more memorable, but for example, like any kid reading that, instantly he goes, ew, oh no.
Oh, I've been making facial expressions. And I've been like... I've just been having my like dark face on all this time whenever it's talking about like their boils and their gunk. Ugh.
My fingers were instantly going for my sad horror expression. Yeah. It's like, oh no, too descriptive. Okay. The machines were both black. They were murderous, brutal-looking monsters. One moment, please.
The internet service providers. No, you're fine.
No. I muted my microphone. I was coughing a little bit. Yeah.
Oh, fine.
Bean. Here we go then, shouted Bean. Death to the fox, shouted Bugs.
Death to the fox.
The machines went to work, biting huge mouthfuls of soil out of the hill. It probably sounds more like "Grar, go," but like, sorry about that.
No, I'm
The
giggling.
victory. Sorry. The big tree under which Mr. Fox had dug his hole in the first place was toppled like a matchstick. On all sides, rocks were sent flying and trees were falling. Sorry, let me repeat that. On all sides, rocks were sent flying and trees were falling, and the noise was deafening. Down in the tunnel, the foxes crouched, listening to the terrible clanking and banging overhead. What's happening, Dad? Cried the small foxes. What are they doing? Cute. Mr. Fox didn't know what was happening or what they were doing. Okay, I will not spend more than 1 minute on this little part, but generally speaking, when someone tries to do a female voice, one of the most important things to do is to reduce the kind of vocal tension or weight for a bunch of reasons that, to be honest, I myself don't fully understand. which of course is particularly related to the fact that the female vocal cords, the female vocal folds, sorry, are a lot thinner than the male, thinner and somewhat smaller than the male ones. The kind of sound that they produce is naturally on a higher vibratory range. But it is not just the hairs of sound, but the kind of somewhat a little bit where the sound resonates, a little bit also of the kind of vocal weight. And vocal weight is essentially like the amount of air that you push into to your folds, to your vocal folds. Yeah.
Yeah, Dee's gonna need to know how to do. Gonna need to know how to do a female voice. She's been struggling.
Oh, really?
No.
There is actually.
She's a woman herself.
I see. Yeah. But there is a series of a training series, actually for VTubers, for 3D VTubers, I think, on the technique of vocal modulation. I can't quite remember the name.
If you do find it, send it on to me. You guys will have Femme Rua soon enough, or Shodo Rua, or Old Man Rua.
Exactly. No, it's actually amazing how malleable, how changeable the human voice can be.
Oh, there's some people who are insane at it.
Yeah. Some people are just incredible at it. They genuinely, they can sound like, for example, like the normal voice is completely one thing, and I don't know, they're a big 6 foot tall guy, and they can sound like a young kid or something like that. Some of that is absolutely amazing. It really is quite incredible. But generally, at least it has been my observation, what I noticed so far when I was experimenting with various techniques. A lot of vocal placement or technique has to do. I'm sorry, I know that we were way past 1 minute. Apologies about that. But a lot of what vocal, a proper vocal modulation, voice modulation, kind of has to do with utilizing parts of your phonatory apparatus and parts of your body that you are just completely not used to handling and to isolating. What do I mean by isolating? For example, if you don't move your 4 fingers but only move your pinky. Easy,
it reminds me of the training that I've done. Well, not training, but the little bits of singing training that I've done before, where when I'm trying to make certain pitches and certain sounds. Like even we were doing some work on barbershop, and what I learned is that they do a very particular, I think it's the I sound, so like kind of like the I, like E. They sing with almost that type of sound, so it's like oh god, what's
like a very, I think it's like a very like open.
It's not necessarily, it's not like nasally, but it's like kind of tongue placement, and it's like keeping your tongue, the back of your tongue placed in a certain way that gives it a certain kind of feel. The tone changes a lot. So.
But
will we?
yeah. Okay, so apologies for the vocal tangent. It's sorry. It's an earthquake, cried Mrs. Fox. Normally when I do a female voice I do it in a different way, but right now that's what I can. Look, said one of the small foxes. Our tunnels got shorter. I can see daylight. They all looked around, and yes, the mouth of the tunnel was only a few feet away from them now, and in the circle of daylight, beyond they could see the two huge black tractors almost on top of them. One point for Mr. Fox. Okay. Tractors, shouted Mr. Fox, and mechanical shovels. Dig for your lives! Dig!
Oh no!
Ruadh. No.
Very, very dangerous. Will I take it?
If you want, yeah. Do go ahead.
Okay. Chapter 6. The Race. Now there began a desperate race, the machines against the foxes. In the beginning, the hill looked like this. After about an hour, as the machines bit away more and more soil from the hilltop, it looked like this. Sometimes the foxes would gain a little ground, and the clanking noises would grow fainter, and Mr. Fox would say, "We're going to make it. I'm sure we are." And then a few moments later, the machines would come back at them, and the crunch of the mighty shovel would get louder and louder. Once the foxes actually saw the sharp metal edge of one of the shovels as it scraped up the earth just behind them. Oh, the thought of you know, I mean, so many horror games and movies are about things that are like just on your tail, just chasing you. That can be scary. But I can imagine as a fox running, and you see the edge of these shovels, and you know if that gets any bit closer, it's the end of you.
Yeah. If that bites you, then you lose more than the death. It's
Keep going, my darlings, panted Mr. Fox. Don't give up. Keep going, the fat Boggis shouted to Bunce and Bean. We'll get him any moment now. Have you got sight of him yet? Bean called back. Not yet, shouted Boggis, but I think you're close. I'll pick him up with my bucket, shouted Bunce. I'll chop him to pieces. But by lunchtime the machines were still at it, and so were the poor foxes. The hill now looked like this. The farmers didn't stop for lunch. They were too keen to finish the job. Hey there, Mr. Fox, yelled Bunce, leaning out of his tractor. We're coming to get you now. You've had your last chicken, yelled Boggis. You'll never come prowling around my farm again. A sort of madness had taken hold of the three men. The tall, skinny Bean and dwarfish, pot-bellied Bunce were driving the machines like maniacs, racing the motors and making the shovels dig at a terrific speed. The fat Boggis was hopping about like a dervish and shouting, "Faster! Faster!" By 5 o'clock in the afternoon, this is what had happened to the hill. The hole the machines had dug was like the crater of a volcano. It was such an extraordinary sight. The crowds of people came rushing out from the surrounding villages to have a look. They stood on the edge of the crater and stared down at Boggis and Bunce and Bean. "Hey there, Boggis! What's going on?" "We're after a fox." "You must be mad." The people jeered and laughed, but this only made the tree farmers more furious and more obstinate and more determined than ever to give up till they caught the fox. They're going a little bit crazy. They got fox madness.
Yeah. They got mad fox disease.
I love the art of the excuse me, hang on. Of the tractors, like how sharp, even though like obviously it's not super detailed, but like how their claws, they're almost like giant teeth or claws. Like
it's very impressionistic. Yeah. It's honestly really, really wonderful.
Yeah,
like
very well done.
A lot of that it really goes into. I did a few art classes, and like the teacher that we had was actually someone that spent like 30-40 years drawing, something like that. It was honestly really amazing the kind of things that he could suggest or imply with just like a few lines of the best.
I noticed that myself sometimes with artists that, like, you know, if I was to try and draw like a hand, well no, hands are really difficult. If I was to try and draw like just a person or a face, I'd be like freaking out about every little line, everything. But then like a well-practiced artist will do like 3 or 4 things, like
Yeah.
3 or 4 little lines, and you'll already start to see like the general shape of it coming together.
Yeah.
They're powerful.
Uh, a lot of it, from what I heard, I never was really good at art, really. But it's not only that they had an incredible visualization of what they want to achieve, like of what they want to draw, but like of course they had like complete control of how to suggest the different lines with their pencil or with the electric pencil. Full disclosure, I never had a tablet, so I don't really know how they work. But I do think that, for example, you put bigger or less, more or less pressure, and then the line, for example, is thicker or thinner.
Yeah, I've always wondered what that's like when you don't have that like tactile sensation of drawing. Must be strange.
It must feel so strange, right? No.
Would you like to take this
I hope you
chapter?
did.
Oh, go on.
Yeah. No, I hope you didn't mind the little sound effect when the people jeered a lot.
I liked
I
that.
sat and
I was kind of tempted to do like the crunching of the machines. You had to relearn to draw with a tablet. That sounds so painful, D. Like I imagine that like the skills do transfer a little bit, but it's like, you know, you go from being like pretty competent with pen and paper, or well, pencil and paper or whatever, and suddenly you're like, oh no, it's usually a 2-week process. It's not too bad.
yeah, that's pretty quick. Because I imagine that the biggest change, the biggest difference is just the feeling, the physical feeling must feel like so incredibly strange when you go from paper to a screen. Then that must feel so strange. And there is one thing with digital art that I always been a little bit jealous about. I will confess. Forgive me, Father, for I had seen with the sin of jealousy. Jesus, what am I saying sometimes? That of course, being digital, you had the opportunity to like do Control Z and undo. Of course, physical, you can't really do that.
Would you like to take this chapter, or shall I?
Oh yeah, I can take the chapter.
Sounds good.
Okay. Yeah. Sorry, my apologies. I thought my internet cut off, but no,
Oh,
everything is okay. Yeah.
It's all good.
Oh, and by the way, do let me know, for example, if my microphone is too low to hide or too low, or if I'm clipping or anything like that.
For me, it's perfect right now. I have a few basic filters on my Discord audio coming from your side, so it's keeping it in the yellow. It's like I have a limiter on it.
Oh, all right. Thank you very much. Thank you. Grazie mille. Okay. Chapter 7. We'll never let him go. At 6 o'clock in the evening, Bing switched off the motor of his tractor and climbed down from the driver's seat. Vance did the same. Both men had had enough. They were tired and stiff from driving the tractors all day. They were also hungry. Slowly they walked over to the small fox's hole in the bottom of the huge crater. Bing's face was purple with rage. Buzz was cursing the fox with dirty words that cannot be printed. Sorry, just one moment, please.
Bean, or was it Buns? Bean was literally doing this. Bean had a toggle. He was a VTuber.
Buzz was cursing the fox with dirty words that cannot be printed. Buggy came waddling up. Dang and blast that filthy stinking fox, he said. What the heck do we do now? I'll tell you what we want. Sorry, I don't know why all of a sudden.
No, you're fine. If I may offer a bit of advice, one of the best things you can do when doing reading, if you find yourself stumbling or whatever, just pause, take a breath, and continue. It's just like when you're singing and you hit a wrong note. if you make like a face or something, everyone will know. Everyone will know that something went wrong. You know, if people are listening, like if you, especially I find that I won't stumble too often, but when I do, it will come in waves. So it'll be like I'll suddenly stumble for like 2 or 3 lines over like simple things, and if I'm constantly going up, you know,
yeah, that's way more.
It takes the flow. It focuses the attention onto it. When if you just stop, collect yourself, and keep going, it's a lot more smooth.
Yeah, no, it certainly makes things flow a lot better.
Like learning how to
it reminds me a little bit of an anecdote that I heard once of a university professor, that he was doing a lecture in front of like 300, 400 students or something like that, and suddenly he had a very strong episode of flatulence, and in front of the entire class. Now, such a thing will be embarrassing for anyone, and they probably will do something like the, oh no, what happened or something. But the professor actually handled it in a brilliant manner. He turned around and he just said something in German that meant something like, he made some kind of joke about it, or he said something like, excuse you, in German. And obviously everyone knew that he wasn't saying it to anyone, that he was recognizing that it was him. But just by recognizing and making light of it, and like he completely made that awkward moment pass. Yeah. Sometimes one simply has to accept the reading of the wind. Yeah. Okay. Continue with the reading. Apologies for the not super safe story, but yeah, that's it. Okay. What the heck do we do now? I tell you what we don't do. Being said, we don't let him go. We'll never let him go, Boss declared. Oh, Bogies. Oh wow, we haven't heard Bogies talk in quite a while. Never, 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 cried Bogies. Did you hear that, Mr. Fox? Yelled Bean, bending low and shouting down the hall. It's not over yet, Mr. Fox. We're not going home until we strung you up dead as a dingbat. Whereupon the 3 men all shook hands with one another and swore a solemn oath that they will not go back to their farms until the fox was caught. And here we have the illustration of the... Oh wow, Mr. Bean does have a pretty terrifying grin, doesn't he?
Yeah, he does. Oh my god. Why does he have like 3 teeth?
Oh, no. Right. Oh yeah, that's his gum. And he does... What I thought was his smiling teeth was his gum, actually. Oh no, he only has 3 teeth. Oh boy. That is the stuff on nightmares.
He doesn't even look like a human, he looks like a fish.
A fish totally out of water. Oh no.
Yeah.
He's probably really horrified by the farmer bean. He probably saw his smile for the first time. Oh no. He's gonna have nightmares at dinner time when he is dumpling.
Oh, I'd say
seeing...
so.
Yeah. Okay. So, continue with the reading. What's the next move? Asked Vance. Vance, right? Yeah. So Vance was a little angry. Okay. What's the next move? Asked Vance, the pot-bellied dwarf. We're sending you down the fall to fetch him up, said Bean. Down you go, you miserable. Oh no. Down you go, you miserable short person. Not me, screamed Vance, running away. I'm sorry that I'm laughing a little. I'm just getting that image of like Vance running away with his hands in the air. Well, it is a children's book after all. So Bean made a sickly smile. When he smiled, you saw his scarlet gums. You saw more gums than teeth. Then there's only one thing to do, he said. We start him out. We come here day and night watching the hole. He'll come out in the end. He'll have to. So Buggies and Buns and Lean sent messages down to their farms asking for tents, sleeping bags, and supper.
My God, they're sieging him out.
Oh yeah. It's an historical siege. The siege of Constantinople is nothing compared to the siege of Buggies and Buns and Beans.
Hole.
It's
up there with Caesar building 2 walls. Or the siege of Carthago Nova by Scipio.
Wow.
Bean, easily a man who could have faced down Africanus, Alexander, Philip II. He could have held his own with any of them.
Yeah, with the 3 of them.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, 3v1, he could take that out.
Chapter 8. The foxes begin to starve. That evening, 3 tents were put up in the crater on the hill. 1 for Buggus, 1 for Bunce, and 1 for Bean. The tents surrounded Mr. Fox's hole, and the 3 farmers sat outside their tents eating their supper. Buggus had 3 boiled chickens smothered in dumplings. Bunce had 6 donuts filled with disgusting goose liver paste, and Bean had 2 gallons of cider, and all 3 of them kept their guns beside them. Buggus picked up a steaming chicken and held it close to the fox's hole. "Can you smell this, Mr. Fox?" he shouted. "Lovely, tender chicken. Why don't you come up and get it?" The rich scent of chicken wafted down the tunnel to where the foxes were crouching. "Oh, Dad," said one of the small foxes, Couldn't we just sneak up and snatch it out of his hand?" "Don't you dare!" I thought it was Mr. Fox. "Don't you dare," said Mrs. Fox. "That's just what they want you to do." "But we're so hungry," they cried. "How long will it be till we get something to eat?" Their mother didn't answer them, nor did their father. There was no answer to give. As darkness fell, Bunce and Bean switched on the powerful headlamps of the 2 tractors and shone them on the hole. "Now," said Bean, "we'll take it in turns to keep watch. Once 1 watches while 2 sleep, and so on all through the night." Buggus said, "What if the fox digs a hole right through the hill and comes out the other side? You didn't think of that one, did you?" "Of course I did," said Bean, pretending he had. "Go on then. Tell us the answer." "Go on then. Tell us the answer," said Buggus. Bean picked something small and black out of his ear and flicked it away. "How many men have you working on your farm?" he asked. 35, Buggus said. I've got 36, Bun said. "And I've got 37, Bean said. "That makes 108 men altogether. We must order them to surround the hill. Each man will have a gun and a flashlight. There will be no escape for Mr. Fox." So the order went down to the farms. My God, they're actually bringing like a whole company. So the order went down to the farms, and that night 108 men formed a tight ring around the bottom of the hill. They were armed with sticks and guns and hatchets and pistols and all sorts of other horrible weapons. This made it quite impossible for a fox, or indeed for any other animal, to escape from the hill. The next day, the watching and waiting went on. Buggus and Bunce and Bean sat upon small stools staring at the fox's hole. They didn't talk much. They just sat there with their guns on their lap. Every so often, Mr. Fox would creep a little closer towards the mount of the tunnel and take a sniff. Then he would creep back again and say, "They're still there." "Are you quite sure?" Mrs. Fox would ask. "Positive," said Mr. Fox. "I can smell that man Bean a mile away. He stinks." My God, they have an army. They're digging in. They're getting entrenched around this hill.
I'm telling you, this is a historical siege. It's actually a little bit funny because I always thought that they were alone, like Bean, Buns, and Bogies. Like they were alone in their farms. But here there is a reference that they actually had helpers or employees for each one.
It kind of gives you the idea that these are big farmers, like really, like they probably own a good couple of acres, a lot of land, a lot of animals.
They are terratenientes. They are quite landlords.
Shockingly high quality voice acting. Thank you, Laugh.
Oh well, sorry, I don't know if like a landlord will actually be a good word for the word terrateniente.
I think
or more.
It seems like they are. I don't know. Maybe they do work the farm. Maybe they just have their helpers work it for them. Hard to say. But I imagine that they're probably like the regular farmers you'd see in the countryside who do run a big operation, but are also heavily involved in it. So it's probably why they're so aggressive. They're taking it personal. This fox.
Yeah. They're taking Mr. Fox is taking their hard work. Yeah. But also before I forget, Lancelot says this is shockingly high quality voice acting, and I must say, like when I was listening to the chapter, I was thinking, oh man, Ruadh is really good at this. Like his voices are really amazing. Congrats on that, really.
I'm trying.
Real.
I guess I'm trying. Like I guess for me, it's like Vargas gives me this idea of a big, strong, angry man. Bunce is kind of more short-fused. Well, he's short. A bit of a temper on him. A little bit of a higher-pitched, angry voice. And Mr. Bean... not Mr. Bean. Bean is... He tries to give an air of class about him. But, my friend Ace P. Caswell is like an actual voice actor, and he can do some amazing voices. Especially his old man voice. I think that's just because he is an old man, but don't tell him I said that.
Especially like your voice for Bean was actually like really incredible. I was actually like a little bit curious about that. I was about to ask. I don't know if you, for example, like studied voice acting in some way or just by yourself.
No, I don't know. I guess I just try and I try and act a little bit posh, I try and imagine how an Englishman would sound, and then I try and I guess for Bean it's kind of like he's almost trying to put it on like he's a little bit more intelligent than the other ones.
Oh yeah.
But he
is.
I think it did say that he is the smartest of the three, but he's also like trying to act it a little bit. But like the thing is that like I think when it comes to someone like Ace who's actually done voice acting work, he'd be consistent in his voices across it. I guarantee that like as we go through, my voices will change a little bit here and there. They won't have the same mannerisms.
Yeah, because it's difficult to keep the same vocal placement. That's one of the things that really makes like a voice actor, like really a voice actor, that they can like on command, like know when to engage like the different resonances, or for example more of a head voice or more of a chest voice, and all that kind of stuff. Because there is a lot of the phonatory apparatus and a vocal technique that we don't really use, at least not in like a very conscious manner.
Very true. Like I'm even I do think that's probably how a lot of people discover their knack for voice acting is, or get into it, is probably just on their own, just making silly voices, and they find all of these ways to activate those parts of their voice box that they don't use. That's and they figure out how if I do this with my throat or do this with my tongue placement, I get this sound, I get this interesting voice.
Yeah, because fundamentally a lot of skills, especially like a lot of creative entertaining stuff, like really starts from there. From like, oh well, this was a good experience. I wonder what I can do if I try this, or mom and dad will be really amazed if I do this with my voice, for example.
Yeah.
And then it starts like that. Yeah. Every great artist was born from the well, it doesn't really happen here in Latin America too much, but you know the cliche of, for example, like a kid draws something and the mom or the dad is so proud they stick it on the fridge.
Yeah.
Yeah. Every great artist is born from the from a doodle on the fridge. For sure. Michelangelo Buonarroti too. I mean, they had a fridge in his home. That's why he could do so many things. He had a lot of technology from the future.
Yeah. Would you like to take...
again. Go ahead. Sorry.
No, I was gonna say, would you like to take this chapter?
Yeah. Okay, so prepare for chapter. I know that I said it before, but I do apologize a little still for like the nervousness. But
No,
well,
you're fine.
it's.
Don't worry.
Thank you.
You're doing well.
Grazie. Chapter 9. Mr. Fox has a plan. For 3 days and 3 nights, this fighting game went on. How long can a fox go without food or water? Boggies asked on the 3rd day. Not much longer now, Bean told him. He'll make a run for it soon. He'll have to. Bean was right. Down in the tunnel, the foxes were slowly but surely starving to death. It's actually a little bit curious, or at least interesting to me, that Mr. Dahl, or Sir Dahl, makes a direct reference to death in this, because it's like a book for kids. Very young kids obviously don't really have an understanding of what death is. I think even for
agree, but I think even back then, like, I mean, this is when did he write these? He wrote this after World War One, I assume, or World War Two.
Oh, yeah.
I'd have to look into the actual time period, but like, I suppose, you know, for him, he probably saw it as like, you know, death is just a thing. Yeah.
That's actually a really good point, because it's always interesting, like when you see literature from other eras, from the past, or for example from very different civilizations, cultures, etc. And you get like these little glimpses and pieces of what that suggest the kind of different ways that these people saw the world because of the time and the space that they were inhabiting. Because indeed, like for people in that era, like dying was just seen kind of just as a part of life, just as a part of things.
I just looked it up. It was 1970 he wrote it, but even still, I mean, he was a man who fought in war. So I think it goes back to my comment earlier that I don't think he treats children like it's a children's book, but he doesn't treat it like it's like, you know, like that means that it's somehow lesser. Yeah.
And kids really notice that, by the way. They really notice when an adult is talking to them as an equal.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Normally, when I am talking, for example, with my nephews, I sorry. Wait, I'm a VTuber. I
do the same thing. Yeah. Don't worry.
Yeah. No, but yeah, I mean, very briefly, for example, of course, like you do like an adoption of you change a little bit of the language, not using complicated words, but generally when you like use like when you talk in a way like that you respect, and so to say, then it's something that very intuitively like they notice a lot. Yeah. Okay. But I don't have nephews because I am a drawing. I am the drawing of my master. Sorry. The part of like keeping the lore as a VTuber can be so incredibly difficult sometimes, or just like remembering like really playing the character. Yeah, it's
We're
difficult.
ruining their immersion. I'm sorry, guys.
Excusa, excusa. Les pido disculpas. Siéntalo. Okay, very well. Here we go. Okay, here we are. If only we could have just a tiny sip of water, said one of the small foxes. Oh, Dad, can't you do something? Okay. Couldn't we make a dash for it, Dad? We had a little bit of a chance, wouldn't we? No chance at all, snapped Mrs. Fox. I refuse to let you go up there and face those guns. I'd sooner you'd stay down here and die in peace. Mr. Fox had not spoken for a long time. He had been sitting quite still, his eyes closed, not even hearing what the others were saying. Mrs. Fox knew that he was trying desperately to think of a way out. One moment, please. Sorry that I ain't again.
No worries.
Thank you. Yeah. And now, as she looked at him, she saw him stir himself and get slowly to his feet. He looked back at his wife. There was a little spark of excitement dancing in his eyes. Kimi no toriko de tan 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 tan. On my stream, we play that song like a lot. For example, when like something vaguely romantic comes in a video or something, then like instantly the song word of like Kimi ni Toriko. Cinnamons by I don't remember the artist, but it's honestly such a banger song. It's honestly such a wonderful song. Okay. What is it, darling? Said Mrs. Fox quickly. I just had a bit of an idea, Mr. Fox said carefully. What? They cried. Oh, Dad, what is it? Come on, said Mrs. Fox. Tell us quickly. Well, said Mr. Fox. Then he stopped and sighed and sadly shook his head. He sat down again. It's no good, he said. It won't work after all. Here it is again. And so this one, the last page of chapter 9 is so cute. The drawing is so cute.
Oh yeah,
this is adorable.
Super cute.
Mega cute. Super cute. Yeah. Why not, Dad? Because it means more digging, and we aren't any of us strong enough for that after 3 days and nights without food. Yes, we are, Dad. And I am sorry that my short impression is like really not well right now.
You're fine.
Thank you. Cried the small foxes, jumping up and running to their father. We can do it. You see we can. You see we cannot. So can you. Mr. Fox looked at the 4 small foxes, and he smiled. What fine children I have, he thought. They are starving to death and they haven't had a drink for 3 days. But they are still undefeated. I must not let them down. I suppose we could give it a try, he said. Yay, let's go, Dad. Tell us what you want us to do. Slowly, Mrs. Fox got to her feet. She was suffering more than any of them from the lack of food and water. She was very weak. I am so sorry, she said, but I don't think I'm going to be much help. You stay right where you are, my darling. Sorry.
Now that was a voice.
Yeah, sorry. Okay.
I think you should stick with that one when he's talking to his wife.
The worst part is it wasn't even like thinking like automatic, like by instinct. Well, I was reading like
all of a sudden.
Totally. No. I was realizing what I was doing when I was getting to like the last words, and I was thinking like in my head was going like panic mode. Like, what are you doing, Alconis? No, what are you doing? Okay. Okay. So now, innocent Mr. Fox. Hey, so Mr. Fox. Said Mr. Fox. We can handle this by ourselves.
Ooh,
Find out what
yeah,
happens in the next episode of Fantastic Mr. Fox C.
What? You finished?
Oh.
Oh, I get you. I like that. I like that chapter. Just the kids
It's so sweet.
jumping in to support their father and keeping his spirits
It's
up.
really, really cute. Yeah.
Will I take it from there?
Yeah. Go ahead. One little thing.
Mhm.
Sorry, just one comment that I got like when I was reading. Well, it isn't really something that happens much nowadays, but in the past, well, especially in like the very distant past, one of the biggest purposes of narratives and stories was the idea of like mythocultural reinforcement or the passing down of values, more or less. So, for example, when stories like this, like maybe not very consciously, but some of the aim when Sir Dahl wrote this book, for example, was like to show kids how to be supportive of their parents, or stand strong in the face of adversity and things like that.
That's a really good point. Yeah, definitely. He's definitely showing this, and it's interesting showing the male father figure. The fantastic Mr. Fox is himself despondent, is himself dealing and struggling to keep going, but just seeing those around him that depend on him is kicking him into action, is making him keep going.
That's fascinating. That's actually quite true. Yeah, I never thought of that before. Thank you so very much.
Chapter 10. Boggis's Chicken House Number 1. This time we must go in a very special direction, said Mr. Fox, pointing sideways and downwards. So he and his 4 children started to dig once again. The work went much more slowly now, yet they kept at it with great courage, and little by little the tunnel began to grow. Dad, I wish you would tell us where we are going, said one of the children. I dare not do that, said Mr. Fox, because this place I am hoping to get is so marvellous that if I describe it to you now, you would go crazy with excitement. And then if we fail to get there, which is very possible, you would die of disappointment. I don't want to raise your hopes too much, my darlings. For a long time they kept on digging. For how long they did not know, because there were no days or no nights down there in the murky tunnel. But at last Mr. Fox gave the order to stop. I think, he said, we had better take a peep upstairs now and see where we are. I know where I want to be. I can't possibly be sure we're anywhere near it. Slowly, wearily, the fox began to slope the tunnel up towards the surface. Up and up it went, until suddenly they came to something hard above their heads. They couldn't go up any further. Mr. Fox reached up to examine this hard thing. It's wood, he whispered. Wooden planks. What does that mean, Dad? It means, unless I am very much mistaken, that we're right underneath somebody's house, whispered Mr. Fox. Be very quiet now while I take a peek. Carefully, Mr. Fox began pushing up one of the floorboards. The board creaked most terribly, and they all ducked down.
That was excellent.
Waiting for something awful to happen. Nothing did. So Mr. Fox pushed up a second board, and then very, very cautiously, he poked his head up through the gap. He let out a shriek of excitement. I've done it, he yelled. I've done it first time. I've done it. He pulled himself up and through the gap in the floor and started prancing and dancing with joy. "Come on up," he sang out. "Come on up and see where you are, my darlings. What a sight for a hungry fox. Hallelujah, hooray, hooray." The 4 small foxes scrambled up out of the tunnel, and what a fantastic sight it was that now met their eyes. They were in a huge shed, and the whole place was teeming with chickens. Halconis, I'm going to need you to do chicken noises. There were white chickens and brown chickens and black chickens by the thousand. Bogus's chicken house #1, cried Mr. Fox. It's exactly
#1
what I was aiming at. I hit it slap in the middle. First time. Isn't that fantastic? And if I may say so, rather clever. The small foxes went wild with excitement. They started running around in all directions, chasing the stupid chickens. That's mean. Wait, wait, ordered Mr. Fox. Don't lose your heads. Stand back, calm down. Let's do this properly. First of all, everyone have a drink of water. They all ran over to the chicken's drinking trough and lapped up the lovely cool water. Then Mr. Fox chose 3 of the plumpest hens, and with a flick of his jaws he killed them instantly. Back to the tunnel, he ordered. Come on. No fooling around. The quicker you move, the quicker you shall have something to eat. One after another, they climbed down through the hole in the floor, and soon they were all standing once again in the dark tunnel. Mr. Fox reached up and pulled the floorboards back into place. He did this with great care. He did it so that no one could tell that he had ever been moved. My son, he said, giving the 3 plump hens to the biggest of his 4 small children, run back to your mother. Run back with these to your mother. Tell her to prepare a feast. Tell her the rest of us will be along in a jiffy, as soon as we have made a few other little arrangements. That's a great chapter.
Yeah, honestly, it's amazing. Yeah. And I must congratulate you when you read the part when like Mr. Fox celebrates that he got to the chicken house. Like that one was really, really well done.
Thank you, thank you. And thank you, Moonlit Sakura, for the hydrate. I do need it.
Grazie. I do apologize a little, my Kokoro-cousin.
Dude, that was so good. That was so good.
Yeah, I was thinking of what is the English onomatopoeia for like for chicken sounds.
Yeah, I was actually just thinking that because I was thinking like when what were you doing? What?
Kokoroko.
Kokoroko. Kokoroko. That's so cute. I like that. Kokoroko. For us, I guess it would just be like cluck. Like they cluck. They go cluck, cluck, cluck.
Oh, right. Cluck.
Cluck.
Yeah. Oh man, that's the one because I was thinking, no, I know what the onomatopoeia is. What was it?
You just couldn't get.
And
I'm glad I got to experience. I'm glad. It appears Bogus has Latin American chickens. No wonder. Maybe that's why. Maybe that's why he's so angry. These expensive, plump Latin American chickens.
Yeah, that explains it a lot. He brought them from all over. They crossed the Atlantic Ocean to get to him. Now we understand Mr. Bogus a bit more. Latin American chickens. That's golden. No, listen. That's the kind of magic you can only find in a collab. Okay. Alright. Yeah. Sorry. Right. But it was actually like a really, really wonderful chapter. One thing that did surprise me a little, well, like 2 things, I suppose. If you see this from the point of view of the chickens, Then
I
it's
was
essentially like an
thinking
horror
that
movie.
myself. Yeah, you just they're
Yeah.
just chilling out. They haven't had the foxes or any animals around them for like a couple of days. They're having a wonderful old time, and
Yeah.
suddenly a fox just appears under the floor.
The middle of them. That's that's a slasher movie stuff.
Mm,
That's like something you
mm.
see in Halloween or something.
But look, Mr. Fox is wearing like a coat, and these chickens are like naked. I think these are just normal animal chickens, and for Mr. Fox, it's like an actual intelligent thing. He has a
Yeah, yeah,
handkerchief
yeah.
wrapped around his neck. He's smart. He's sentient.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. That's the mark of wisdom. That's the mark of sapienza.
Mm,
If you had a scarf around your neck, you're an intelligent being.
definitely. You just look smarter with a scarf.
He does. He really does. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah,
The
yeah.
next chapter is quite short.
Oh, yeah.
And then chapter 12, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 pages. So, would you like to do both of them? Just because chapter 11 is kind of short, or do you want to stick with the bounce back and forth thing?
If you're okay with it, I can do like chapter 11 and 12. I can do both chapters.
Sounds good.
Okay, okay. Excellent. Chapter 11. A surprise for Mrs. Fox. The small fox ran back along the tunnel as fast as he could, carrying the three plump hens. He was exploding with joy. Just wait, he kept thinking. Just wait until Mommy sees this. He had a long way to run, but he never stopped once on the way, and he came bursting in upon Mrs. Fox. Mommy! He cried, out of breath. Look, Mommy, look! Wake up and see what I brought you. Mrs. Fox, who was weaker than ever now from lack of food, opened one eye and looked at the hens. I'm dreaming, she murmured and closed the eye again. You're not dreaming, Mommy. They're real chickens. We're safe. We're not going to starve. Mrs. Fox opened both eyes and sat up quickly. But, my dear child, she cried, where on earth? Buggy's chicken house number 1, spluttered the small fox. We tunneled right up under the floor, and you never seen so many big fat hens in all your life. And that's safe to prepare a feast. They'll be back soon. The sight of food seemed to give new strength to Mrs. Fox. A feast it shall be, she said, standing up. Oh, what a fantastic fox your father is. Hurry up, child, and start plucking those chickens. Far away down in the tunnel, the fantastic Mr. Fox was saying, Now for the next pig, my darlings. This one will be as easy as pie. All we have to do is dig another little tunnel from here to there. To where, Dad? Don't ask so many questions. Start digging.
He's feeling confident.
Oh, yeah. Mr. Fox found his stride. The joy of finding the chickens is like, well, it sometimes is like that. Like when you're like in a difficult situation and then suddenly you find like a headwind or a progress or something like that.
Just one small victory and can just keep you going.
Yeah, and one small victory can change everything. I never was much for reading history, like not in a very detailed manner. But I think that actually happened a lot in war, did it not? Like
at times, yes. Like I'm thinking of sometimes it can be the crushing of a perception. So I can't remember the particular war, but like when the Spartans properly lost a field battle for the first time in the Peloponnesian War, their aura of invincibility was kind of shattered.
Yeah.
That they had for so long as like the best fighters in Greece, and then I'm sure there's various examples of like a small victory being the turn, like not the turning point of the war, but kind of signaling and encouraging fighters. But nothing immediately springs to mind, I suppose.
Yeah, that like gives the fighting forces a kind of second wind. Certainly.
I mean, I suppose you could say Scipio Africanus taking Carthago Nova. Taking Carthago Nova, defeating Hasdrubal Barca right afterwards. I mean, before then, the Romans were getting destroyed by the Carthaginians. They were Hannibal was romping around Italy. Spain was basically, other than like a sliver of the northeastern corner, was under Carthaginian control. And then Scipio just comes along, wins a few battles, and like suddenly things are looking amazing.
Yeah. Because Scipio did seem like he was actually quite a charismatic figure in his era. Like it doesn't. Oh, go ahead, sorry.
Oh no, I was just saying he definitely was very intelligent.
Yeah, I was a little fascinated. Unfortunately, I was not able to hang around much when you were doing like the readings of Scipio Africanus. The main thing that I remember, I will confess, was the submarine elephants. That was quite amazing. I mean, that's unforgettable. Certainly. Okay. So continue with the reading here. Chapter 12. Badger. Mr. Fox and the 3 remaining small foxes dug fast and straight. They were all too excited now to feel tired or hungry. They knew they were going to have a walking great feast before long, and the fact that it was none other than bogus chickens they were going to eat made them chargle with laughter every time they thought of it. Well, I guess this is a bit off to say, but like, amazing work, Sir Dali, not saying the F work. The Wakin is a very good replacement. Yeah, that's But I'm glad he didn't say effing great time and effing great feast. Well, Wakin is good. Good job in there, Sir Dal. Okay. It was lovely to realize that while the fat farmer was sitting up there on the hill, waiting for them to starve, he was also giving them their dinner without knowing it. "Keep digging," said Mr. Fox. "It's not much farther." All of a sudden, a thick voice above their heads said, "Oh? Who goes there?" "Uh-oh." The foxes jumped. They looked it up quickly, and they saw, peeking through a small hole in the roof of the tunnel, a long, black-pointed furry face. "Badger!" cried Mr. Fox. "Foxy!" cried Badger.
Foxy.
"My goodness me! I'm glad I found someone at last. I've been digging around in circles for 3 days and nights, and I haven't the foggiest idea where I am." Badger made the hole in the ceiling bigger and dropped it down beside the foxes. A small badger, his son, dropped it down after him. "Haven't you heard what was happening up on the hill?" Badger said excitedly. "It's chaos. Half the wood has disappeared and there are men with guns all over the countryside. None of us can get out, even at night. We're all starving to death." "Who is we?" asked Mr. Fox. Sorry, go ahead.
Oh no, I was saying, oh no, it doesn't sound like a very good situation for any of the animals.
No. This is the point where I'm thinking, like, I don't know if like later on in the book is going to say like, oh no, the adventure with Mr. Fox affected the other animals in the hill or something. When I first read this part, "Who is we?" I thought Mr. Fox was asking in a smug manner. So like, who is we? I am
Who
not
is
hungry.
I'm not hungry. If any fact, I'm about to be even less hungrier. And he just eats him. He just eats the badger. Although, I don't know if like English badgers are as vicious as honey badgers.
That's a good point.
Because if they are, Mr. Fox might want to stay well away.
Yeah. Mr. Fox might want to keep his distance. Oh no. Thinking of Mr. Fox eating the badger. Sorry. No. Fortunately, it seems Mr. Badger is safe. But, but yeah, like when I was reading that, I was thinking that like Mr. Fox was a smug. I was
Yeah.
thinking like, oh wow, Mr. Fox, why to rub it in, man? Why are you being like that? The
Mr.
poor Badger
Fox.
hasn't
Mr.
eaten
Fox
in
is
3
actually
days.
a prick. Outside of his family, he's just a terrible person.
Yeah. He only cares for his family. Everyone else, like, nah, they can get eaten. Everyone else can get shot. No. Okay. Excusa. Continue with the reading. All us diggers. That's me and Mole and Rabbit and all our wives and children. Even Weasel, who can usually sneak out of the tightest spots. The tightest spots is right now hiding down my hole with Mrs. Weasel and 6 kids. What on earth are we going to do, Foxy? I think we're finished. Mr. Fox looked at his 3 children and he smiled. The children smiled back at him, sharing his secret. My dear old Badger, he said, this mess you're in is all my fault. Oh. I know it's your fault, said Badger furiously. And the farmers are not going to give up until they got you. Unfortunately, that means us as well. It means everyone on the hill. Oh man, this is getting a bit dark. Badger sat down and put a power on his small son. We're done for, he said softly. My poor wife up there is so weak she can't dig another yard. And the illustration here in page 47 is a little curious because like the way that he is sitting, it makes, at least to me, makes it look like Badger is terrified of Mr. Fox.
It does look like that a little bit. A little bit. I like read the first line, you know, like it's like a really serious moment. It's like, my poor wife up there is so weak she can't dig another yard. And then Mr. Fox in the next illustration is like dancing. He's like, nor can mine. Isn't it so funny?
Our wives are starving to death. Yay!
Get pranked, Mr. Badger.
Mr. Fox, this is not helping your smug allegations. First, asking who is we in a smug manner, and now he's celebrating that both wives are starving to death. Mr. Fox is seeing me like a very dark character now. But, you know, that actually is like a really critical juxtaposition.
Yeah.
And I guess it's a bit funny because what I imagine that they thought the child audience was going to assume, because generally kids are usually good-natured, generally speaking, of course. So like they're probably going to think, oh well, I mean, Mr. Badger is scared, worried about something, and then Mr. Fox is happy because he's trying to comfort him, to make him happy too. Like they are not necessarily going to think of like the possibly darker implications of like Mr. Fox celebrating the, oh yeah, get pranked, Mr. Badger. Both our wives are going to die. Okay. Continuing with the reading. Continuando con la lectura. Nor can mine, said Mr. Fox. And yet at this very minute she is preparing for me and my children the most delicious feast of plump juicy chickens. Stop, cried Badger. Don't tease me. I can't stand it. It's true, cried the small foxes. That's not teasing. We got chickens galore. And because everything is entirely my fault, said Mr. Fox, I invite you to share the feast. I invite everyone to share it. You and Mole and Rabbit and Weasel and all your wives and children. There'll be plenty to go around, I can assure you. You mean it? Cried Badger. You really mean it? Mr. Fox patched his face close to the badger's and whispered darkly, "Oh man, this is
Do you know?
Mr. Fox is scary now."
Do you know where
It's
you've
scary.
just been? Where we've just
Yeah.
been? Mr. Badger's like
where we just been.
putting his son behind him, like trying to protect him.
Wait, when did Mr. Fox become a yandere? What's going on? But is he really putting him behind him in the illustration? Or oh no.
No, he's sitting on his like lap.
Oh right. Like it's actually quite amazing, like how like a different perspective can make some lines come off so incredibly different. But whispered darkly is like a very interesting way of saying it. I never really read before of someone utilizing a light adjective, illumination adjective, darkly, brightly, or something to like to use it with a word. For example, he said brightly, whispered darkly, etc. That's actually fascinating. Okay. Where? Right inside Boggy's chicken house number 1. No. Yes. But that is nothing to where we are going now. You had come at just the right moment. You had come just at the right moment, my dear Badger. You can help us dig. And in the meanwhile, your small son can run back to Mrs. Badger and all the others and spread the good news. Mr. Fox turned to the small badger and said, "Tell them they are invited to a fox's feast. Then bring them out down here and follow this tunnel back until you find my home." "Yes, Mr. Fox," said the small badger. "Yes, sir. Right away, sir. Oh, thank you, sir." And he scrambled quickly back through the hole in the roof of the tunnel and disappeared.
Oh, cute.
Hey, that's the chapter 12.
Good reading. Good job.
That's it.
Ooh. I think we're getting into it's Bunce's place now. Chapter 13. Bunce's giant storehouse. My dear... No, wait, hang on. What voice do I want to do for Badger? Badger gives me like a feeling of hang on. I had a voice in mind for him. Let me jump back a page or two because I think I had one when he appeared.
Oh, right, yeah.
And I found someone at last. Yeah, I think something like that. Okay, I think I might have something. My dear Foxy, cried Badger. What in the world has happened to your tail? Don't talk about it, please, said Mr. Fox. It's a painful subject. They were digging
Again,
a new
you're
tunnel.
really good with the voices.
Thank you. They dug on in silence. Badger was a great digger, and the tunnel went forward at a terrific pace now that he was lending a paw. Soon they were crouching underneath yet another wooden floor. Mr. Fox grinned slyly, showing sharp white teeth. If I am not mistaken, my dear Badger, he said, we are now underneath the farm which belongs to that nasty little pot-bellied dwarf, Bunce. We are, in fact, directly underneath the most interesting part of that farm. Ducks and geese, cried the small foxes, licking their lips. Juicy, tender ducks and big, fat geese. Exactly,
Yay.
said Mr. Fox. But how in the world can you know where we are? Asked Badger. Mr. Fox grinned again, showing even more white teeth. Look, he said, I know my way around these farms blindfolded. For me, it's just as easy below ground as it is above it. He reached high and pushed up one of the wooden floorboard, then another. He poked his head through the gap. Yes, he shouted, jumping up into the room above. "I've done it again! I've hit it smack in the nose, right in the bullseye! Come up and look!" Quickly, Badger and the three small foxes scrambled up after him. They stopped and stared. They stood and gaped. They were so overwhelmed they couldn't speak. For what they now saw was a kind of fox's dream, a badger's dream, a paradise for hungry animals.
Love. Or sorry, imagine a holy song here.
"This, my dear old badger," proclaimed Mr. Fox, "is Bunce's mighty storehouse. All of his finest stuff is stored in here before he sends it off to market." Against all the four walls of the great room, stacked in cupboards and piled upon shelves reaching from floor to ceiling, were thousands and thousands of the finest and fattest ducks and geese, plucked and ready for roasting. And up above, dangling from the rafters, there must have been at least 100 smoked hams and 50 sides of bacon. "Just feast your eyes on that," cried Mr. Fox, dancing up and down. "What d'ye think of that, eh? Pretty good grub." Oh wow, this is a long chapter. Suddenly, as though springs had been released in their legs, the three hungry small foxes and the ravenously hungry badger sprang forward to grab the luscious food. "Stop!" cried Mr. Fox. "This is my party, so I shall do the choosing." The others fell back, licking their chops. Mr. Fox began prowling around the storehouse, examining the glorious display with an expert eye. A thread of saliva slid down one side of his jaw and hung suspended in midair, and then snapped. "We mustn't overdo it," he said. "Mustn't give the game away. Mustn't let them know what we've been doing or what we've been up to. We must be neat and tidy and take just a few of the choicest morsels. So to start with, we shall have 4 plump young ducks." He took them from their shelf. Oh, how lovely and fat they are. No wonder Bunce gets a special price for them in the market. "All right, Badger, lend me a hand to get them down. You children can help as well. There we go. Goodness me, look how your mouths are watering. And now I think we had better have a few geese. 3 will be quite enough. We'll take the biggest. Oh my, you'll never see finer geese than these in a king's kitchen. Gently does it, that's the way. And what about a couple of nice smoked hams? I adore smoked hams, don't you, Badger? Fetch me that stepladder, will you please?" Mr. Fox climbed up the ladder and handed down the 3 magnificent hams. "And do you like bacon, Badger?" "I'm mad about bacon," cried Badger, dancing with excitement. "Let's have a side of bacon. That big one up there." And carrots, Dad," said the smallest of the 3 small foxes. "We must take some of those carrots." "Don't be a twip." Oh, sorry. I thought that was another one of the children. "Don't be a twerp." That's such a funny thing to call your child. "Don't be a twerp."
Fox number 1, you're being a twerp.
Fox number 1. Small fox number 1. No, number 1 ran back with the hens earlier, so it's small fox number 2, you dope. Get out of here. Oopsies. "Don't be a twerp," said Mr. Fox. "You know we never eat things like that." "It's not for us, Dad. It's for the rabbits. They only eat vegetables." "My goodness me, you're right," cried Mr. Fox. "What a thoughtful little fellow you are. Take 10 bunches of carrots." Soon all of this lovely loot was lying in a neat heap upon the floor, The small foxes crouched close, their nose twitching, their eyes shining like stars. "And now," said Mr. Fox, "we shall have to borrow from our friend Bunce 2 of these useful push-carts over in the corner." He and Badger fetched the push-carts, and the duck and geese and hams and bacon were loaded on them. Quickly the push-carts were lowered through the hole in the floor. The animals slid down after them. Back in the tunnel, Mr. Fox again pulled the floorboards very carefully into place, so that no one could see they had been moved. "My darlings," he said, pointing to 2 of the 3 small foxes, "take a cart each and run back as fast as you can to your mother. Give her my love and tell her we are having guests for dinner. The badgers, the moles, the rabbits, and the weasels. Tell her it must be a truly great feast, and tell her the rest of us will be home as soon as we've done one more little job." "Yeah, Dad. Right away, Dad," they answered, and they grabbed a trolley each and went rushing off down the tunnel. Look at that cute little face on that one in the corner. It's so cute. Unfolded them. Hang on, I'm going to take a snip of that one as well. I don't know if you've been watching the stream, Halconis, but I have been adding images of the foxes and things as we go.
Oh, I see it now. That's actually really cool. That's so cute, actually.
I've kind of just been adding them here and there. I liked the silly looking fox in that one image. I was like, I want that one by the fire, and since then I've just been adding them.
Wonderful. That's like a chronicling of the journey. As we advance through the chapters, we get more and more snippets. That's actually amazing. She's running off. She's sneaking away. Yeah. That one is far. That snippet is far away because they're running off. They're running off with the bounty, and like they really hit the gold mine in this chapter.
That they did.
One thing that amazed me was when, so like Mr. Fox says that he knows the path by memory, more or less, and it reminded me of like this anecdote from some conflict in the interwar period. I was a bit of a... I know a little bit about flying. I used to be kind of into planes and stuff like that. And I remember there was this anecdote on the interwar periods, war around the early 30s, for example, that the soldiers from one side, like scouting Mr. Fox side, they had to bomb some base in like the Bogies fort. And they couldn't really do it that day because the anti-air artillery, etc., was just too strong. So eventually, two pilots from the Mr. Fox force, they came up with the plan.
I love how you're calling it Mr. Fox and the 3 farmers.
Yeah. I can tell you that war was the conflict was historical.
Yeah. Anyway, go on.
Okay. And so the 2 pilots, I guess we can say like a Small Fox 1 and a Small Fox 2, came up with this plan because usually at this time, like a lot of planes, most of them were biplanes, I think, at the time. Not most, but a lot of them were biplanes, especially planes that like had a much bigger configuration, such as bombers, for example. Like because of the bigger weight, they still relied on biplane architecture. Biplanes don't really exist as all monoplanes now for a lot of reasons, but they had this plan that they more or less did the same thing that Mr. Fox did. So they had like a plan, okay, go ahead for like 5 miles or something, and then turn southwest to southwest, I think will be 0 north, 90 south, 60 degrees, for example. Go towards 63 degrees. Turn your compass to 63 degrees, and then go ahead for that direction for, no, sorry, it wasn't like miles, because you can't really measure miles in a plane. It was like go at this speed for this amount of minutes, and then you turn towards southwest to this orientation, and at that place go at 200 miles per hour for 20 minutes. After that, turn towards orientation 270 and go there, etc. And eventually, like the final step of their plan was doing the dive bombing towards the objective. And like, if you had never seen a plane flying at night, but the pilot survived, by the way. The Foxes survived
Yeah.
to going back to Delta. But flying at night is terrifying.
Yeah,
It's
like especially when you
genuinely
don't have the
terrifying.
systems in place to see where you're going. Oh my god. You
You
must have to have some, like obviously they had some things that were keeping track of time and like direction and stuff, but like even just having the wherewithal and the ability to know, okay, we need to go this direction, this amount of time, this direction, this amount of time. Like you had to
It's
have
insane.
really good understanding of your plane.
Tremendously, and especially because for at night when you see the world, the planet is like, yeah, like a ship on the ocean at night. It's pitch black. The air is just
Scary.
like a completely black void. It's scary. It's really scary. And because of a bunch of things that happen to people when like they do a lot of maneuvers in a plane or they hover on a lot in a plane, your senses don't really work quite the same as they do on land. You get disoriented very easily and stuff like that. So you have to rely on your many instruments that tell you reliably like where you are going, if you are going towards the ground or if you are horizon level, and like if you're going to a certain direction, if you're going north, and a lot of other elements. Instruments started, I think, being like the common thing. For example, like the instruments that we have nowadays, like the altitude indicator, inclinometer, and all that kind of stuff. Inclinometer tells you if you're going up or down relatively to height. If, for example, you think that you are going front, but your inclinometer is actually heading, indicating that you are losing height, altitude really fast, then you know that you are wrong, that you are actually heading straight to the ground. And sorry,
good to know. If I ever wind up in a cockpit, I'll use that to my best ability. If I do wind up in a cockpit, then it's probably already a pretty bad situation. But I'll do my best.
Yeah, don't worry, Ruadh. You will be able to save all the passengers in the airline, in the Boeing airline.
Definitely.
You can do it. Yeah. Well, boys, sorry that I suddenly got so much into this plane tangent, but especially like airliners in general, like they are really designed so that they can preserve their flight direction. Not flight direction, but for example, so that if they lose power or something,
they can glide.
Their gliding capabilities. I'm sorry, I didn't hear you.
Oh, yeah, gliding. I was just repeating what you were saying.
Oh, right, yeah. Yeah, they are optimized so that the gliding force can continue as long as possible. Mainly so that the pilot can actually do the maneuver that they deem necessary and try to land in the safest place. And of course, autopilot does a lot for the general flight of an airliner.
Yeah, that's how I understand it, isn't it? Like autopilot pretty much takes over for the majority of the flight, and then really it's taking off and landing is kind of the main thing.
Yeah, takeoffs and landings are terrifying. They can be really terrifying, especially in planes that are big as that. Because like a little Cessna is it can be still scary, it can be still quite a thing, but ultimately it is like a very small thing. It's kind of like driving a family car, one of those cars that has 4 doors, versus, for example, driving a semi-truck or one of those 18-wheelers where the vehicle is so massive that you can intuitively understand where the car is going. And an airliner is essentially like that, so you have to be...
Oh, did you cut out for a moment? Halcones. Oh no. I think he may be gone, or maybe I'm gone. Am I still live? I think I'm still live, guys. Uh-oh. Am I alive? You think I'm still alive. I like to think I'm still alive as well. So, I assume perhaps Halconus is having an issue or two. Let me give him a quick message. At least this time we got a lot of reading done. I hope you guys have been... Hope you guys have been enjoying the reading so far. It's fun.
I think we are back, sorry.
There he is. There he is.
I am alive.
Yay.
Yeah, really sorry about that. Yeah. Probably my connection was just surprised that an instant on a program was running for a long time. But it doesn't... Sorry, just disconnected for a bit.
No worries. We hit chapter 14.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I do chapter 14, right?
Yeah, because I did the one just beforehand.
Okay. So, one moment. Chapter 14. Badger has doubts. Just one more visit, cried Mr. Fox. And I'll bet I know where that will be, said the only small fox now left. He was the smallest fox of them all. Where? Said Badger. Well, said the smallest fox, we had been to Boggies and we've been to Bounce, but we haven't been to Bean. It must be Bean. You're right, said Mr. Fox, but what you don't know is which part of Bean's place we're about to visit.
Ooh.
Which? They said both together. Aha, said Mr. Fox. Just you wait and see. They were digging as they talked. The tunnel was going forward fast. Suddenly, Badger said, Doesn't this worry you just a tiny bit, Foxy? Worry me? Said Mr. Fox. What? All this stealing. Mr. Fox stopped digging and stared at Badger as though he had gone completely dotty. My dear old furry friend, he said, do you know anyone in the whole world who would only swipe a few chickens if his children were starving to death? There was a short silence while Badger thought deeply about this. You are far too respectable, said Mr. Fox. There's nothing wrong with being respectable, Badger said. Look, said Mr. Fox. Boggies and Bounce and Bean are out to kill us. You realize that, I hope. I do, Foxy, I do indeed, said the gentle Badger. But we're not going to stoop to their level. We don't want to kill them. I should hope not indeed, said Badger. We wouldn't dream of it, said Mr. Fox. We shall simply take a little food here and there to keep us and our families alive, right? That was actually a little surprising to me when I was reading the part where they raided Mr. Boggies. Like at this point they probably can escape the farm, the mountain, right? Because the houses are probably pretty far away from where they are doing the siege.
I would assume so, yeah. But I suppose for them this is the mountain they live on. So it's it's dangerous to go And also, I suppose as well, like they're hungry right now, so their main focus is food, not escape.
That's true. That's true. And it could also be that, like you say, they probably don't know where else they can go.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, here we go. I suppose we'll have to, said Badger. I suppose we'll have to, said Badger. If they want to be Orwell, let them, said Mr. Fox. We down here are decent, peace-loving people. Well, except for the part where they slaughter chickens, but aside from that, they are very peaceful. that part was dark. That part actually surprised me. I mean, it makes sense. It is a fox, so
yeah.
But yeah. Badger laid his head on one side and smiled at Mr. Fox. Foxy, he said. Well, I shiteru. It's
Cute.
That was. I was just really surprised, like with the low confession out of nowhere. When did we end up on Badger Road? When?
I don't know. Badger's bringing something new into this story. I love Mr. Fox's response. Read it.
Fox, Mr. Fox rejected him. No. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I like to imagine it's super quick. Thank you. And now let's get on with the digging. Just moves his son between him and Badger.
Man, fantastic indeed. Fantastic indeed. What a fantastic ride this book is. Oh, man. I will confess, I suddenly read it on Japanese. That surprised even me because I was kind of embarrassed to say like that word in English.
Yeah. No, I know. I find it tricky to say as well.
It can be difficult. It can be difficult because especially in English, the word has a lot more gravitas. Because I think it's generally used in a very, very specific context in English. Whereas, for example, in Spanish, te amo, which literally will be the translation for I love for that word. It can be used generally in a bit more of a more universal, more general style, in a more general sense. Like, of course, if still in Spanish, if I went to any random person in the street and told them "te amo," they will be like, what's going on here? But it doesn't have the. For example, in English, I think they call it the L word, for example, or at least here it describes it sometimes like that.
Yeah, I do think saying love has a very strong connotation, definitely.
Yeah,
it's not something you would say even among like close friends. It would probably be rarely said. Although I like you might see like, oh, love you, like something like that, like very short, kind of like depending on the feeling. But like to sit down, or not sit down, but to like just plainly say to someone, I like you. Yeah, D knows, but like,
yeah.
To sit down and say it to someone, I love you, in a not in a romantic way, would be very surprising.
Very.
Outside of family, obviously, outside of like familial love, it's different, obviously.
Yeah.
Like
for example, like
when you get a call from someone in your family and you're hanging up and you go, and you're with friends and they say love you as they hang up, and you're like, love you too, because your friends are gonna tease you.
But now you can say, for example, thank you, like Mr. Fox. You
Yeah.
can just,
Thank you.
thank you, very cool, thank you. Honestly, it was like really, really, really amazing. Like, but it's true that, like, for example, going with the whole emphasis of the word, like saying "I love you," is like such a strong, such a powerful thing. And in Spanish, that it's relegated more to, like, for example, like, um, it's not really the words themselves, but for example, like saying it with the kind of emotion, you give it, that really gives it the, yeah, the difference.
I see. I see.
Yeah. Thank you, say Mr. Fox. And now let's get on with the digging. 5 minutes later, Badger's front paws hit against something flat and hard. "What on earth is this?" he said. "It looks like a solid stone wall." He and Mr. Fox scraped away the soil. It was a wall. But it was built of bricks, not stones. The wall was right in front of them, blocking their way. "Now wouldn't the world will build a wall under the ground?" asked Badger. Oh, I think I know where they are." "Very simple," said Mr. Fox. "Elementary, my dear Badger." "It's the wall of an underground room. And, if I'm not mistaken, it is exactly what I'm looking for." Excellent hit, Mr. Bean's hidden... how
Cider.
do they say caja fuerte in English? Like where all the gold is stored.
I guess a safe underground bunker. Your trying to think what probably the most applicable word. Bunker maybe. Gold.
Yeah,
No, gold house gives something different. I'm not too sure. I think I get what you're saying. I think there is a specific word. I just can't. It's like on the tip of my tongue.
Yeah, me too. I think it's something like a box, a strong box, or
strong
safe.
box, safe. Yeah, that's probably the best way. I was thinking more of a room where valuables would be kept. Like a treasure room, basically treasury, maybe. But I'm guessing this is liquid treasure in cider form. And apples.
Yeah.
Vault.
Yeah.
I'm dumb. Alconus, excuse me. I'm very, very dumb. A vault.
No, please, no.
A vault. Thank you, D.
Right, yeah. That's the word. That's true. Oh, right. Thank you. Thank you so much. Sorry, I wasn't looking at chat for a moment.
I'm silly. Oh, new character. Okay. What am I gonna do for this?
Yeah, you do chapter 15, I think.
Chapter 15. Bean's Secret Cider Cellar. Ooh, that has some lovely alliteration. Bean's Secret Cider Cellar. Mr. Fox examined the wall carefully. He saw that the cement between the bricks was old and crumbly, so he loosened a brick without much trouble and pulled it away. Suddenly, out of the hole where the brick had been, there popped a sharp, small face with whiskers. Give me a moment. I'm gonna mute my mic just to see what voice. Halconus, I'll still allow you to hear me, so you can react to what I'm doing.
Yeah, that's wonderful. That's perfect, actually.
Go away.
It snapped.
You can't come in here. It's private.
Good Lord, said Badger. It's a rat. You saucy beast, said Mr. Fox. I should have guessed we'd find you down here somewhere.
Go away.
Shrieked Rat.
Go on. Beat it. This is my private pitch.
Shut up, said Mr. Fox.
I will not shut up,
Shrieked Rat.
this is my place. I got here first.
Mr. Fox gave a brilliant smile, flashing his white teeth. My dear Rat, he said softly, I am a hungry fellow, and if you don't hop it quickly, I shall eat you up in one gulp. That did it. Rat popped back fast out of sight. Mr. Fox laughed and began pulling more bricks out of the wall. When he had made a biggish hole, he crept through it. Badger and the smallest fox followed him in. They found themselves in a vast, damp, gloomy cellar. This is it, cried Mr. Fox. This is what? Said Badger. This place is empty. Where are the turkeys? Asked the smallest fox, staring into the gloom. I thought Bean was a turkey man. He is a turkey man, said Mr. Fox. But we're not after turkeys now. We've got plenty of food. Then what do we need, Dad? Oops. Take a good look around, said Mr. Fox. Don't you see anything that interests you? Badger and the smallest fox peered into the half-darkness. As their eyes became accustomed to the gloom, they began to see what looked like a whole lot of big glass jars standing upon shelves around the walls. They went closer. They were jars. There were hundreds of them, and upon each of them was written the word cider. The smallest fox leaped high in the air. Oh, Dad, he cried out, look what we found. It's cider. Exactly, said Mr. Fox. Tremendous, shouted Badger. Bean's secret cider cellar, said Mr. Fox. But go carefully, my dears. Don't make a noise. This cellar is right underneath the farmhouse itself. Cider, said Badger. It's especially good for badgers. We take it as medicine. One large glass 3 times a day, with meals and another at bedtime. While they were talking, the smallest fox had sneaked a jar off the shelf and had taken a gulp. Wow, he said. Wowee. You must understand that this was not the ordinary weak fizzy cider one buys in a store. It was the real stuff, a home-brewed fiery liqueur that burned in your throat and boiled in your stomach. Gasped the smallest fox. This is some cider. That's quite enough of that, said Mr. Fox, grabbing the jar and putting it to his own lips. He took a tremendous gulp. It's miraculous, he whispered, fighting for breath. It's fabulous. It's beautiful. It's my turn, Mr. Badger, said Badger, taking the jar and tilting his head well back. The cider gurgled and bubbled down his throat. It's like melted gold, he gasped. Oh, Foxy, it's like drinking sunbeams and rainbows. You're poached.
I love the emotion on each line.
You're poaching.
Shrieked Rat.
Put that down at once. There'll be none left for me.
Rat was perched upon the highest shelf in the cellar, peering down behind a huge jar. There was a small rubber tube inserted in the neck of the jar, and Rat was using this tube to suck out the cider. You're drunk, said Mr. Fox.
Mind your own business,
shrieked Rat.
and if you great clumsy brutes come messing around in here, we'll all be cut. Get out and leave me to sip my cider in peace.
At that moment, they heard a woman's voice calling out in the cellar in the house above them. Hurry up and get that cider, Mabel. I don't know why Bean's wife is Scottish. What? Hang on, that's not right. Hurry up and get that cider, Mabel. The voice called, "You know, Mr. Bean doesn't like to be kept waiting, especially when he's been out all night in a tent." I don't know. I don't know. The animals froze. They stayed tremendously still, or absolutely still. Their ears pricked, their body tense. Then they heard the sound of a door being opened. The door was at the top of the flight of stone steps leading down from the house to the cellar. And now someone was coming down those steps. Ooh. Uh-oh.
Quite a lot happened in this chapter.
Dun. Yeah.
Dun, dun, dun. The, hearing alcohol described in movies or stories. Sorry, I don't know if you want to add something first, Ruadh.
I like rat. That's my addition. I suppose one of my additions is the baby fox, the child fox drinking the cider.
That was surprising, yeah. That tells you this was a relatively old book.
Yeah, I don't know if it was the 70s, but I suppose maybe Roald Dahl was coming from an older breed. But even then, there's you'd allow a child to have a sip of beer or a sip of Guinness. In Ireland, you'd often see a very funny image would often be a toddler or a young child with a foam mustache from having a sip. Often while they're like, it's disgusting.
Oh yeah.
But yeah, just I would have thought that it's just surprising, I don't know, to see the child drinking it.
It certainly was quite unusual, and I think especially in European countries because of their long histories. Of course, in a long time in history, it was common for kids to drink alcohol, to drink that sort of stuff. I think even historically, it was also a way to sanitize the water when the water sanitation methods that we have now were not quite as widely available.
That's true, yeah. It would help not die.
To kill the bacteria. Yeah, that's true. That part is very important. It's very important not to die.
A little bit.
But even, for example, a Beatles singer, John Lennon, I think there were some stories of him drinking alcohol and smoking cigars and stuff when he was very, very young. Very young. Yeah. Well, of course, he was born in the 40s, but back then, especially just a lot of the things that we take for granted nowadays, they just weren't around. They were not around. And
was there anything else to say that caught your eye in this chapter?
Yeah. No, so seeing descriptions of alcohol in stories, it's always a bit surprising to me because I don't really drink. So I never really have much of a reference for example, cider. Well, I drank alcohol 3 times in my life, I think. Around that, yeah. And ironically, one of those times was cider. But generally, when people talk about alcohol, I almost have no frame of reference for how, if something tastes strong or how it is supposed to taste and all that kind of stuff. But, yeah.
Cider can sometimes be very sweet. Sometimes it can almost be too sweet. But I definitely wouldn't know what a strong home brewed cider is meant to be like. My main excuse me. My main drink of choice is whiskey.
Wow.
I've enjoyed the ciders that I have tried.
Amazing, I congratulate you. They say whiskey is a very, very manly, a very, very tall drink.
I'm definitely super manly. Trust me, guys. No, I just like the taste of it. Usually I'm drinking it, with a chase or with a mixer of some kind. Usually Coke Zero or ginger ale. I will say that whiskey and ginger ale is a lovely combination. But I have drunk it straight a good few times, and it is nice sometimes when you get a nice proper glass to just kind of have the whiskey and just be sipping away at it. The first couple of times are always a bit rough, no matter how many times I've done it. It's always like, but then after that, like the taste starts coming in, and you're like, oh, that's lovely.
Fascinating. I hear it described as liquid fire. That initial kick is like
Some
really,
of them
really
can be.
harsh. Oh, wow. Cider? It tends to be a sweet because of the fermentation. There is even like a tendency for something like cider, or for example for grapes, to ferment in nature. So you can occasionally see like IRL foxes getting drunk off.
I've seen that before.
Really?
Oh, not in person, I will say. I've seen it like on videos and stuff, but I've seen that process that you've described.
Yeah, it's fascinating. It's honestly fascinating. I used to do a little bit of bread in the past. So I had seen the process of fermentation in a couple of occasions. And I think I was friends with someone that tried to do cider once. And when you get it to work, it's genuinely fascinating. It's amazing what quote unquote little bacteria can get done.
Yeah, like I imagine making your own drink is like so fun. Of course, there's a whole law of that where, moonshine and stuff is not legal, but I bet it would be interesting to see what the difference is between your own home brewed and like, the standard ones. Although you'd have to be careful not to become an IPA bro. I don't know if you've ever seen that meme before, but it's just silly. Silly little meme.
No, I never really know.
Where am I gonna put the fat lady? The big lady? The big lady?
And not a snip for our journey.
Yeah, I'm gonna move her down in the things that I don't know where to put her. I'll put her coming in from the side over here, I think. There's a nice bit of space there.
Yeah, that sounds good. That is good. Oh, wonderful. Yeah, that's a good place. That is a good place. Oh no, she's looking at us.
She's gonna bonk you on the head, Halconius.
Oh no! Please, don't bonk me.
Bonk.
Okay.
He's dead. Oh, yo.
Rip. F. Press F for Alconis.
F. Oh, F in chat, bros.
F in chat. F in chat. You know what's funny? I had never played actually that game for the press F to pay respects.
I haven't either. I've played CODs before, but I didn't play that one. But I feel
Really?
like that's almost the only... It's such a strange moment that, like, something that was made fun of so much in the, like, they made fun of it because of how ridiculous it was in this really serious moment. They give you a button press to interact with, like, what should be an emotional, not high, but like introduction into the game as like a serious thing, and then it's press F to pay respects. And what's interesting to me is the way the internet took it, memed it to the point that it actually became a genuine thing that people do. People will legitimately say, press F to pay respects, and they will press F. It's just it's a funny impact on culture to have.
It's quite a testament to the power of memeology. Yeah.
Definitely.
And I think part of why it resonated also so much. Out to the branches. Oh, hi.
Oh no, okay, you're back. I am frozen for some reason. My face is. Hang on. Oh, there we go. I'm back.
Oh yeah,
It's-
Visual Studio freezes sometimes.
It's okay.
Yeah. It happens, I think, restarting the instance of Visual Studio, I think, helps it sometimes. I think there's a button in the menu to do that. Or just quitting and opening
Yeah,
again.
right. I think it's more just I think I just went out of frame for a sec.
Oh, okay.
It just wasn't picking me back up. Okay. All good. All good again.
Okay.
The woman.
No, but Call of Duty like had a lot of moments like that, and of course, like the special one, which is curious. I always thought it was around the end of the game, like you were paying respects for a character, a character that was a friend through the game or something. But apparently, it was around the intro of the game.
Yeah, I think that's the case with that game. They did it at the very intro. I guess it was meant to be like a, you know, I don't know. I didn't play that one, so I can't say.
Yeah. But like that moment in particular, Call of Duty has a lot of really absurd moments. But that one was like the perfect crystallization of the most ridiculous stuff in Call of Duty.
Yeah, it was just silly enough to work.
Yeah, and well, that's good. Like it's so universal, it can fit in so many contexts.
Yeah,
so
yeah,
that
it just
helped with
worked.
it.
I think it was just like people would do it to meme, to reference it, and then it just became part of internet culture.
Sorry, I made it for a moment.
Wait, no, it's
No, go ahead. Sorry.
oh no, it's fine. I thought you said you were muting because you had to cough. Actually, speaking of, I got a cough.
Yeah. But yeah, it's a testament to the power of the internet too.
Definitely. Now here comes this big woman.
Yeah. I think I take chapter 16, right?
Yeah, big lady. The woman.
Chapter 16, the big lady, or the woman. Quick, said Mr. Fox. Hide! He and Badger and the smallest fox jumped up onto a shelf and crouched behind a row of big cider jars. Peering around the jars, they saw a huge woman coming down into the cellar. At the foot of the steps, the woman paused, looking to the right and left. Then she turned and headed straight for the place where Mr. Fox and Badger and the smallest fox were hiding. She stopped right in front of them. The only thing between her and them was a row of cider jars. She was so close, Mr. Fox could hear the sound of her breathing.
Oh God.
Peeping through the crack between two bottles, he noticed that she carried a big rolling pin in one hand. Oh no, that spells danger. Oh, and the illustration is wonderful. I love the suggestion of volume through the use of shading in this part, especially with the upper bottles. It's amazing. How many will he want this time, Mrs. Bean? The woman shouted. And from the top of the steps, the other boys called back. Bring up 2 or 3 jars.
He drank 4 yesterday, Mrs. Bean.
Yes, but he won't want that many today because he's not going to be up there more than a few hours longer. He says the fox is bound to make a run for it this morning. He can't possibly stay down that hole another day without food. The woman in the cellar reached out and lifted a jar of cider from the shelf. The jar she took was next but one. The jar she took was next but one to the jar. So like it was next to the one that was next to the...
it's a bit of an awkwardly phrased line, I have to say. The jar she took was next but one to the jar behind. I don't know.
Yeah, because this
it might be
ahead,
kind of an older style of phrasing things, maybe.
Yeah, Yeah, I was going to say, yeah, this usage of the word of but is like, sorry, is like very, very old English, like around 18, maybe 19th century. Mm. Oh, sorry, I forgot to mute her. I'll be glad when the rotten brute is killed and strung up on the front porch. Wow, she called out. And by the way, Mrs. Bean, your husband promised I could have the tail as a souvenir. The tail's been all shot to pieces, said the voice from upstairs. Didn't you know that? You mean it's ruined? Of course it's ruined. They shot the tail about Mr. Fox. Oh heck, said the big woman. I did so want that tail. You can have the... Oh, wow. These people are sadistic.
It's a I guess they're hunters. Well, not hunters, but you know,
That's a good
mounting
point, yeah.
heads and stuff was common back
Yeah.
then. Not even back then. It just
Yeah.
is a thing that people do.
Yeah. No, it was, especially in the past, like very, very common as a way of intimidation and all that. Where was I? Okay. You can have the head instead, Mabel. You can get it stuffed and hang it on your bedroom wall. Hurry up now with that cider.
Mabel from Gravity Falls.
Yes, ma'am, I'm coming, said the big woman, and she took a second jar from the shelf. Oh, here's the... Okay, yeah, here's the pitch. Oh, wow. Miss Mabel's face on page 70 is... Okay. If she takes one more, she'll see us, thought Mr. Fox. He could feel the smallest fox's body pressed tightly against his own, quivering with excitement. Will two be enough, Mrs. Oh no, this is Miss Marvel, okay. Will two be enough, Mrs. Bean, or shall I take three? My goodness, Mabel, I don't care so long as you get a move on. Then two it is, said the huge... said the woman, speaking to herself now. He drinks too much anyway. Carrying a jar in each hand and with the rolling pin tucked under one arm, she walked away across the cellar. At the foot of the steps, she paused and looked around, sniffing the air. Sniffa, sniffa. There's rats down here. Again, Mrs. Bean. I can't smell. Sorry about that. I can smell them. Then poison them, woman. Poison them. You know where the poison's kept. Yes, ma'am, Mabel said. She climbed slowly out of sight up the steps. The door slammed. I do apologize if in some parts it sounds like I'm reading a bit different. Like, without getting too much into it, the phonemes, the very fundamental sounds for the vowels in English and in Spanish are different. So, a big part... Yeah. It's super different. So that's why, for example, I say the door slammed or something like that. Is exaggerated. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, we can say that it gives it a unique character. And when in the past, when for example I was pronouncing something with a lot of carefulness, for example when I was recording a book or something, then I did try to remember like using the right vowels, so the door slam, and stuff like that. But I kinda lost the habit, so to say. Streaming is a different beast. Streaming is a very different beast. Okay, before I go on a tangent. Quick, said Mr. Fox. Grab a jar each and run for it. Ruadh stood on his high shelf and shrieked. What did I tell you? You nearly got nabbed, didn't you? You nearly gave the game away. You keep out of here from now on. I don't want you around. This is my place. One moment. Okay. You, Mr. Fox said Mr. Fox, are going to be poisoned. Wow. Okay. Sorry, I didn't hear that. I didn't catch it. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. that's totally true. Stop it, Mr. Fox, said Ruadh. I have the high ground. Oh wait, no, that's a different movie. Sorry. Oh boy. That's. Sorry, that's from actually from some old meme. A friend like it to say. But I'm not actually sure where it comes from, where that meme comes from. Sorry. Stop it, stop it, Mr. Fox, said the Ruadh. I have the high ground. Oh, really? Was it like the original trilogy or? Oh.
I'm muted. I didn't realize I was muted. Thank you, D. Thank you. Thank you, D. That was not good.
Grazie mille, D.
They could still hear you, I'm pretty sure. But yeah, Revenge of the Sith was the movie. Halconis has been talking to himself. Oh no.
It's okay, I do that every day.
I do too. It's getting a little bit late, so let's get through the rest of this.
Oh yeah, I was about to ask you, like, do you want to do the whole book or we're
Yeah,
close
I mean
to
we're almost done. Literally, we have
Yeah.
the rest of this chapter, and then this chapter, and then it's like 2 short pages.
Okay, yeah. Yeah, apologies for taking so long actually with the
No, it's
tangents.
fine. It's fine. It's just it's 3 a.m. It's 3 a.m. for me.
Yeah.
We started an hour later
Wow.
than we intended because I had stuff to do. So it's fine. And then of course I had the issues. So go.
Oh yeah,
Let's go.
Stuff happens. Okay, go. Yeah. Poppy sock, said Ruadh. I sit up here and watch her putting the stuff down. She'll never get me. Mr. Fox and Badger and the smallest fox ran across the cellar, clutching a gallon jar each. Goodbye, Ruadh, they called out as they disappeared through the hole in the wall. Thanks for the lovely cider. Thieves! Shrieked the Ruadh. Robbers! Bandits! Burglars!
I like rap.
Yeah, he's funny. He's a funny guy.
Chapter 17: The Great Feast. Back in the tunnel lay Paul so Mr. Fox could brick up the hole in the wall. He was humming to himself as he put the bricks back in place. I can still taste that glorious cider, he said. What an impudent fellow Rat is. He has some bad manners, Badger said. All rats have bad manners. I've never met a polite rat yet. He drinks too much, said Mr. Fox, putting the last brick in place. There we are, now home to the feast. They grabbed their jars of cider and off they went. Mr. Fox was in front, the smallest fox came next, and Badger last. Along the tunnel they flew, past the turning that led to Bunce's mighty storehouse, past Boggis's giant chicken house number 1, and then up the long home stretch towards the place where they knew Mrs. Fox would be waiting. Keep it up, my darlings, shouted Mr. Fox. We'll soon be there. Think what will be waiting for us at the other end. And just think about what we're bringing home with us in these jars. That ought to cheer up poor Mrs. Fox. Mr. Fox sang a little song as he ran. Oh no, okay. Home again, swiftly I glide, back to my beautiful bride. She'll not feel so rotten as soon as she's gotten some cider inside her insides. Then Badger joined in. Oh no. Oh, poor Mrs. Badger, she cried. So hungry she very nearly died. No, that's not it. Oh, poor Miss Badger, she cried. So hungry she nearly died. But she'll not feel so hollow if only she'll swallow some cider inside her inside. They were still singing as they rounded the final corner and burst in upon the most wonderful, amazing sight any of them had ever seen. The feast was just beginning. A large dining room had been hollowed out in the earth, and in the middle of it, seated around a huge table, were no less than 29 animals. Oh God. They were Mrs. Fox and 3 small foxes, Mrs. Badger and 3 small badgers, Mole and Mrs. Mole and 4 small moles, Rabbit and Mrs. Rabbit and 5 small rabbits, Weasel and Mrs. Weasel and 6 small weasels. The table was covered with chickens and ducks and geese and hams and bacon, and everyone was tugging into the lovely food. My darling, cried Mrs. Fox, jumping up and hugging Mr. Fox. We couldn't wait. Please forgive us. Then she hugged the smallest fox of all, and Mrs. Badger hugged Badger, and everyone hugged everyone else. Amidst shouts of joys, the great jars of cider were placed upon the table, and Mr. Fox and Badger and the smallest fox sat down with the others. You must remember, no one had eaten a thing for several days. They were ravenous. So for a while there was no conversation at all. There was only the sounds of crunching and chewing as the animals attacked the succulent food. At last, Badger stood up. Muggle, 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 muggle. He raised his glass of cider and called out, "A toast. No, a toast. I want you all to stand and drink a toast to our dear friend who has saved our lives this day. Mr. Fox. To Mr. Fox," they all shouted. Mr. Fox, to Mr. Fox.
I almost want to bring 2 glasses together to do the clink.
Dink.
Yeah. I could do it. It would be just like 3 seconds. I don't know if it would worth it though. For the sound.
If you have it right there, do it.
I don't have it on the... Wait, actually, I think I have an idea. I think I had an idea. Oops, something like that, I guess.
It works. It works.
Yeah.
They all shouted, standing up and raising their glasses. To Mr. Fox, long may he live. Then Mrs. Fox shyly got to her feet and said, oops, I keep clicking, I don't want to make a speech. I just want to say one thing, and it is this. My husband is a fantastic fox. Everyone clapped and cheered. Then Mr. Fox himself stood up. This delicious meal, he began, then he stopped. In the silence that followed, he let fly a tremendous belch. Oh, that was not tremendous at all. I don't have any.
That was excellent.
I don't have any Coke or Coca-Cola or like gas.
Let me try something.
There we go.
Yeah.
I got one.
There's this one too. Bar.
I imagine those work in the cow too, right? Because they are the filters of the...
Did. Oh my god, that was so good. Okay, that works. There was laughter and more clapping. This delicious meal, my friends, he went on, is by courtesy of Messrs. Buggus, Bunce, and Bean. More cheering and laughter, and I hope you have enjoyed it as much as I have. He let fly another colossal belch. Better out than in, said Badger. Thank you, said Mr. Fox, grinning hugely. But now, my friends, let us be serious. Let us think of tomorrow, and the next day, and the days after that. If we go out, we will be killed, right? Right, they shouted. We'll be shot before we've gone a yard, said. We'll be shot before we've gone a yard, said Badger. Exactly, said Mr. Fox. But who wants to go out anyway? Let me ask you that. Oops. We're all diggers, every one of us. We hate the outside. The outside is full of enemies. We only go out because we have to get food for our families. But now, my friends, we have an entirely new setup. We have a safe tunnel leading to 3 of the finest stores in the world. We do indeed, said Badger. I've seen 'em. And you know what that means, said Mr. Fox. It means that none of us ever need to go out into the open again. There was a buzz of excitement around the table. I therefore invite you all, Mr. Fox went on, to stay here with me forever. Forever, they cried. My goodness, how marvelous! And Rabbit to Mrs. Rabbit, my dear, just think, we're never going to be shot at again in our lives. We will make, said Mr. Fox, a little underground village with streets and houses on each side, separate houses for badgers and moles and rabbits and weasels and foxes. And every day I will go shopping for you all, and every day we will eat like kings. The cheering that followed went on for many minutes.
Yeah, Mr. Fox for president. Yay!
4 more years. 4 more years.
Mr. Fox for president again. Yeah, Mr. Fox with the incumbent invention? That's undefeatable. That's undefeatable.
So, Halconis, would you like to finish us off? One of my favorite parts of this book.
If it's your favorite chapter, you can read it actually. If you want.
No. It's the final thing. I'll leave you.
Okay. Thank you so very much for the honors. And what did surprise me a little about the speech of Mr. Fox when he was starting the speech. Like, so who wants to go out anyway? Let me ask you that. Let me ask you that. I was thinking, is Mr. Fox telling everyone to become a hikikomori? Why?
Yeah, they're all hikikomoris. He's just like me. He's just like me.
He's just like me, for real. Still, this book so far has been actually really cute, really engaging actually. Like, I did imagine that I would get so into it. Okay.
It's really good. It's really good.
And the final images are so sad. The final dramas are so sad. I love how he does the rain actually. Okay. Chapter 18. Still waiting. Outside the Fox's hall, Buggies and Bounce and Bean sat beside their tents with their guns on their laps. It was beginning to rain. Water was trickling down the necks of the 3 men and into their shoes. Oh yeah, Buggies was there. Okay. He won't stay down there much longer now, Buggy said. The bird must be famished, Bounce said. That's right, Bean said. He'll be making a dash for it any moment. Keep your guns handy. They must be excited actually after so many weeks. Yeah. They sat there by the hole, waiting for the fox to come out. And so far as I know, they are still waiting. And
And that comes the closer of look.
yes, that marks the end of Fantastic Mr. Fox.
Woo! We did it! Yay!
Yay!
Oh, I've lost tracking again. Come on, pick up my face.
Oh.
Oh, I think I know what's causing it. It's when I'm in the darkness right now. Even though that shouldn't happen when
Oh.
I have an iPhone. But anyway, I'm gonna stretch us up a little bit more so that we're able to stand up
Okay.
on stream. Oh no, wait, no, that's ruining my position. Back down. It's ruining all our friends that we gained along the way.
Yeah,
But
I was
yeah,
looking at the
I always
snippets.
I always loved that ending. But they're still waiting.
Yeah. And they're waiting and waiting and waiting. It's actually quite a fitting, like almost Disney villain kind of punishment for the tree farmers. So, yeah. Where like
But
it's not
yeah.
that anything like.
Oh, sorry,
Oh, go ahead, sir.
No, it's your.
No, it's like not that anything really bad actually happened to the farmers, because this is still a kids book. So like I know that animals got killed, but for example, like visiting violence upon a person might probably feel, at least to Sir Dal, probably did
Yeah.
feel a little different.
Bit much.
So it's just like they are just triggered by the fox.
Yeah, I just like the idea that like they're so focused on the fox that they will sit there for days on end. And I like to imagine that they're so focused that like they have to see the fox is dead. They have to see
Oh
him.
yeah.
So they will never leave and they'll always be there waiting. Any moment he'll come up.
Any moment. Just you wait. He's got a coming up now. It's actually quite. It's actually quite a fitting, quite a nice.
It's a great ending. It's a really fun, cute. Well, yeah, it's a fun, cute ending.
Cute,
Everyone's happy and the farmers are defeated in a very fun way.
Yeah, like in a very innocent way. And so what?
Oh, sorry, you kind of cut out there, Halconus. Okay, Halconus went very robot-y there, so I assume his internet went again. Uh-oh.
Oh,
Oh,
Yeah?
You're back.
oh, that's odd because my internet didn't say that it disconnected or anything.
Might have just been something just went for a second.
Probably. Yeah. No, sorry. I just asked. Was just asking for it. But what do you think about the book? The illustrations were really nice.
Yeah, the illustrations are great. They really capture. Like sometimes they're very scratchy. They're just like almost sketches, but I feel like it just fits that style so well. It fits like, you know, especially the art of Bogus and Bunsen Bean is always so good.
It's wonderful.
The book itself, I think, it's such a, I don't know. I mean, I'm nostalgic for it, so it's just super cute, and I love it. And getting to reread it was a lot of fun. Although I must say I am quite tired now.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I must imagine that you're actually like really tired.
It's what time is it? It's almost 20 past 3. I'm going
boy.
to sleep like a baby.
Yeah. Just imagine the. Oh, sorry, I don't even know what I was going to say, but just imagine the amazing Mr. Fox, and you'll have wonderful dreams.
Which follow.
I don't even know what. That doesn't even make sense. Sorry.
No, you're fine. I think there's a lot of great little moments, like the Mr. Fox being despondent and his children kind of giving him
Hope.
giving him hope, Similar happens actually before that when Mr. Fox loses his tail and he's so sad about it, and his mother boosts him, or not his mother, sorry, his wife encourages him and tells him to keep going.
Yeah, that's a good point. Yeah,
There's a lot of that of the main character sort of needs to be pushed by those around him.
That's actually quite an interesting point, because I was fascinated when you mentioned that, for example, when he saw his kids cheering him on, that really reminded what was important, more or less.
Definitely.
Now that you say it, yeah, there are actually a lot of moments like that. When, for example, he sees like the community around him, for example, Mr. Badgers and all the others, that he sees that they are suffering because of a situation, and he knows how to help remedy that moment, the situation. Like, there is actually like a lot of that. And of course, because like what I mentioned, some of the purpose of stories in the past was to like carry on a sort of moral message. Is not really the right term, but it's good enough for now. But so that it carries forward a certain idea, then again it teaches kids, for example, how to the importance of the people around them and how important it is to be able to help those around them.
So I was going to try to expand on your point, or like I've just gone blank. Hang on.
It's okay.
Oh no, that's embarrassing. My brain is mush.
No, it's okay. At 3 a.m. my brain is also mush.
Do you like the friends we've gathered around us?
I love them.
We have Mr. Badger and his son. We have one of the foxes in the corner looking up at you. This one is my favorite. the dopey looking fox by the fire. It just looks silly. It's blank stare.
Not those head empty.
Yeah, pretty much. Like, I don't remember where this was, but I think something was happening where the children were running up to Mr. Fox, but like this one's just kind of standing there being like, yeah, I know what's going on. The one in the background running away. So,
No.
but
It was honestly like really, really amazing. Like you say, the characters are the illustrations are really, 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 really pretty. They're actually really amazing.
like Bogus Bunsen Bean, one fat, one short, one lean. Like simple things like that is stuck in my brain, and I always remember the illustrations of them in my mind. Even before we read this, I always had it there. So like, I mean, it shows you how, like, the art alongside it brings it to life so much.
Yeah, it really, really, really does. One of the amazing things about prose is that you can like have your own image of things in your own head.
Yeah.
But sometimes when you get like a suggestion of how that image can be, or I guess you see the visual world that another person imagined,
It's completely
then
different.
that's something. It's something so different, yeah.
Like I remember Game of Thrones. Who's kind of like the first main character of the book again? The main family. Hang on. This is a Roald Dahl text. Yeah. Yes. We actually just finished it. Tallies, unfortunately. But thank you so much for joining, and thank you for the first time chat and the follow. This is my friend Halconis. You should go check him out. Alas. Hopefully we can do... I wouldn't mind just reading some more Roald Dahl books myself. But we could do this. We could do something like this again. There's definitely a bunch of short stories.
That would be really nice, yeah.
That we could do.
Oh.
But yeah, there's definitely examples where I've had an imagination of what a character would look like, and then I see like them in movies or something. There was things in... Sorry, there was... What was I going to say? there was like characters in movies, and it's like completely different to how I imagined them.
Oh yeah, that happens a lot. That happens a lot.
You saw I read philosophy, which was what piqued your interest too. Yes, I only recently I should have a link to my YouTube somewhere, my VOD channel, because there you can find links to my readings. You know, watching playthroughs can probably be a bit tough, but I think listening to readings is a bit better. For you did your bachelor's in philosophy. I guarantee, Tallies, you know more about philosophy than me. I'm just someone who reads my own stuff. I have certain areas that I'm decently well read on, but that's about it.
It can be difficult to obtain like a very systematic knowledge about such a wide field, because philosophy can be really, really, really expensive.
Yeah. Like it's fine when it's like Plato, Aristotle. Even then, it's already kind of difficult. Like Aristotle breaks down, you know, metaphysics, physics, politics, aesthetics. I'm probably morality, ethics was the word I was looking at. You do phenomenology. Oh God.
Oh no.
But like, and then after a certain point, like after about a couple of 100 years, it just goes crazy. Mostly Heidegger and those who carry his torch. Ooh, very cool. There were some mentions in the book I was reading recently, doing the first reading of Heidegger here and there, and his approaches to stuff. Aristotle was so dense. I am quite a big fan of Thomistic metaphysics, I must say, Tallies. And I apologize, not Albionus. I'm thinking of Son Albionus, my other friend who does reading stuff. Halconus. I'm like trying to like talk to the chat and stuff.
No, please, it's totally okay.
But yeah, I'm looking forward to getting into that work about the theological origins of modernity. I think it'll be a good book. But
wow.
Yeah, it sounds super fancy, and it is. There is quite a bit of heavy philosophy in there and theology. You have had to read a lot of Aquinas, I'm sure. I have Halconus. I have a book. I have it's the entirety. I got it as a present. It probably would have been better if I got it as a series of books with explanatory text. But I got the entirety of the Summa Theologica.
Wow.
By Thomas Aquinas. I could kill someone with this book, which is ironic considering the topic.
That's a good point, actually. I think it is like one of the famously most impenetrable books in most of literature and even philosophy.
Oh yes,
like
Thomas
they say
Aquinas,
that Summa Theologica,
the good doctor. I think it's the angelic doctor. Is massive in terms of his impact on Catholic teaching, especially because I'm pretty sure I think it was the 19th or 20th century, the Catholic Church officially recognized Thomism as its doctrine, its official doctrine and philosophy. Obviously, there's still debates around that, but that's kind of the one they put their hat on. You had an exam on the part of the Summa?
Because I did hear a little that it was really, really influential for the development of Catholic teaching. But I didn't know that they adopted it as an official, what Thomas Aquinas said, and that is what we adopt.
Yeah,
that actually is quite amazing.
It's not Thomism is concrete and this is all we can accept. It's this is kind of the general outline of our philosophy, but it's always open for further interpretation, further developments. But yes, they definitely take a Thomistic point of view.
Wow, that's incredible. And it's certainly, especially books like that, is very good to have them with this commentaries and things that help to put some things in context. Not just, of course, because I think Thomas Aquinas, sorry, I think it's in English. En español sería Thomas Aquinas, creo.
Thomas Aquinas.
Thomas Aquinas. Well, wonderful. I love that Spanish. Wonderful.
Boom.
Yeah. I think he lived sometime in the 16th century, I believe. I am not too sure. San Tomás de Aquino, perdón, es verdad, sí. Perdón, no sería Tomás Aquinas, sería San Tomás de Aquino.
Thomas Aquinas was more in the, what was it again, 12th? No, I think it was the 13th century. It was the 13th century, I'm pretty sure. I think it was like, yeah, some 1200s, sometime around 1200s. It's actually,
Wow.
it's quite unfortunate. He died in such a strange way. He was writing, he wrote so much, so much. And at some point then he kind of has like this, some say it was like a mental break, some say it was divine revelation, but he eventually, supposedly anyway, as the stories go, exactly tallies. He states, all my writings are but straw after this sort of mystical experience. And I guess he sort of just goes on to start giving talks and lectures and, you know, saying mass and stuff like that. But he's going, I can't remember exactly the specific event, but I believe he's actually going to a large debate around, it might have been like nominalism and universals. That was like an important part of what would eventually become the Protestant Reformation and all of the fun stuff that came out of that. But he ends up, somehow, he hits a branch while he's on his horse and he falls and dies. It's such a, it's one of those things where it's like, it's a strange I want to say ignoble end for a thank you so much, Tallies, for the sub, very much appreciated. Actually, hang on, I'm going to quickly shout out Halconus.
Grazie.
There we go.
Grazie.
There we go. But thank you so much. You might like my friend Sun Albionus as well. SUN.
Yeah.
ALBION. Wait. ALBIONIS. He also does philosophy. He has read the entirety of Plato's Corpus. Not on stream.
Albionus is amazing, really.
Yeah, he does. I just don't have the time to read. I don't know how that man finds so much time to read. But I suppose I'm doing study and stuff, so that probably impacts it.
It can be quite difficult, especially when, well, it depends also a lot on the density of the text. Because, for example, something like a relatively simple children's book, for example, like you can easily, for example, do 5 pages, and because it's not something that's like super complex, you can do it quickly. But something, for example, like Plato's teaching, the Republic, Summa Theologiae, and stuff like that, it's a lot harder.
Yeah,
like a lot.
I mean,
harder.
I've read like even just some basic beginner books on stream. And like even at times you need to slow down and like try and break down certain things. And to be fair, even like even beginner books often like get complicated near the end. Heidegger is insane to read. Existence is the being of those beings who stand open to the openness of being in which they stand by standing it.
Oh wow.
Okay.
Yeah.
Hang on, let me try and break this one down in my vague knowledge of Thomism. Existence is the being of those beings who stand open to the openness of being in which they stand by standing it. I don't know if maybe you're just memeing, but if I had to, I'd assume this is something to do about existence for separate beings that don't have existence themselves. How would I phrase this? That they must be open to, well, no, how could they be open to something if they don't exist yet? Rather, hang on, I'm getting confused now trying to understand this silly bit that probably is similar to what reading Heidegger is like. I was going to try and take a Thomistic stance on it, where it's like existence is basically an active quality in everything, but a thing must exist to to be in act. So unless a thing is itself subsistently existing, no such thing can come into existence. It's totally out of context, but yeah, it has to do with the concept of desane. I see. I'm familiar
Honestly,
with
I
Heidegger.
admire your bravery for trying it out. As soon as I saw it, I just thought, oh man, this
It
must be
does
a...
That's the thing. I don't know. This could actually be an actual quote, or just silliness. But it seems like it's an actual quote. What the fuck is Heidegger
I thought it was a
talking
tongue
about?
twister.
It's a tongue twister. Heidegger isn't a philosopher. He was just a tongue twister and doesn't make sense.
Yeah.
Doesn't make sense without German. Ah, the Germans. Those silly little guys.
Oh, right. German is honestly such an amazing... Like, the modularity of the language is amazing in German. How you can make your own words and stuff like that.
Yeah, you can just make up your own words. Probably makes it very difficult for people at times, but maybe they understand that. I will say though, it's getting quite late for me, and I think I'm going to end the stream. It is past 3:30, so I need to get to eat.
Thank you, grazie mille. Thank you so very much, Ruadh, for the collab. It was honestly really, really wonderful. I hope that you and other viewers had a wonderful time as well.
I
love it.
definitely did.
I really
thank you
love
so much, Halconis, for joining me, and thank you for suggesting this. It was a really sweet thing to do, and very nice. I know the first time we tried it didn't go amazingly, but in a way, I like to think that now we got to meet Tallies together, so that was sweet.
Yeah.
It was nice meeting us.
The winds of fortune.
Wish you could have come earlier. No worries, Tallies. Thank you for joining us. I think me starting that book by Michael Allen Gillespie has might have helped. That's the Theological Origins book. Well, thank you so much, Halconis, for joining me and lending a voice to these readings. It was really fun doing rereading that book for me. It was just a blast from the past, just nostalgia and memories hitting all the time. But I think now what I'm going to do is I'm going to look for someone to raid into.
As someone who has seen the book for the first time, I must say that I really loved it as well. It genuinely is an amazing.
Yeah, I'm glad that you enjoyed it too. It's a fairly simple book. I swore it was longer, but that's just obviously faulty memory. But I think we were kind of doing it. I did have it as ASMR initially, but I changed it to reading and writing, so I can read into people who aren't doing ASMR. Because I always, whenever I do ASMR, I try and stick with ASMR, because otherwise I'll wake people up. But you guys are
with the same
ASMR
category.
viewers, so too late now. We're gonna read into Daya. Is Daya doing karaoke?
It's his music.
He is. So we're gonna read into. Thank you, Tallies, for the head pat. Thank you. I should set something up so that they can head pat you to Halconis. I'll try and figure that out. Maybe if
that's a sweet. Thank you.
Hopefully, sometime you'll be able to get like the 2 models on screen. That would be great.
Yeah, that actually would be really, really nice. That would actually be really nice.
It'd be lots of fun. But
certainly.
Do you have any last things to say?
Grazie for the stream. It has been honestly really wonderful. It was really, really, really great.
Yeah, I had a ton of fun. Thank you again so much, Halconis, for joining me. So, guys, we're going to raid into... and again, go over to Halconis, go follow him. He's a really sweet guy, and very cute, as you can see here. This is just a simple PNG. He does move. He does actually move like me.
I move sometimes.
Thank you so much for joining us, Tallies. And thank you, everyone, for joining us for our reading today of Roald Dahl's fantastic Mr. Fox. He really is a fantastic Mr. Fox. And now we're going to go over to a fantastic little diamond. Diamond in the rough of VTubing. His name is Diamandis. He's doing some karaoke right now. He's always doing random things. So Great meal.
I love his karaokes.
Oh, they're fantastic. Wait,
Yeah.
say goodbye. You say like a cool goodbye in
Yeah.
language.
Adopo, Michi. Adopo. Bye bye. Nos vemos. Mátane.